What is up, Fantasy Endgame community? I'm Pierre and he's Chris, here to help you again with fantasy football lineup advice. This time it's week 3. You know what? We're going to try to say this over and over again. Let's not overreact to 2 games so far. It's a small sample size. A lot of things are out of whack, but that's just football. That's how it is. But we're going to try to do our best to go every position, and we're going to talk about as many players as we can. Now, here's the thing. We're going to get to the questions, and you know what? We've been live for about 10 seconds. We already have a ton of questions that are coming in, but let me remind you a couple of things. So first of all, we do this every weekend for you guys, Saturday evening, answer all your start sit questions, as many as we can. We also have one that we do Sunday morning for patrons because, we want to reward our loyal patrons, but also that's a chance that we can go over everything, not just start sit advice, but also trades, waiver wire, team audit, anything you need. Okay, so that's our way to give dedicated time to you guys. If you're considering doing that, just go to patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. Link will be down below in the description. All right. The other thing is, if you really want your question answered, the only way to guarantee we see it is that super chat feature. And I tell you that because last week, for 2 hours, that's pretty much all we could do is get to the super chats. That's why we've extended it tonight. We're going even longer. We're going to try to go a full 3 hours just because we really want to try to get to your questions. But again, that we're going to do the super chats first. And so we'll do the best we can. But that is basically your fast pass. I already got one in there. Our man Tyler is ready. All right. Before we get to that, though, a couple other things. Discord. We have one. It's free. Join it. All right, people talk all week long, every week, all year long. You want to answer, get your questions answered. That's a good way to do it, not just by us, but from some of our great community members. And of course, I don't think this even needs to be mentioned, but I'll mention it anyways. If you like the show, then hit the like button. If you want to see this again, hit subscribe. We do every single day, multiple videos, live shows, 4 times a week now, I think it is. So yeah, guys, hit subscribe and you get us all week long, and hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as we do go live or post a video. All right, am I leaving anything out, or are we ready to get into it?
I think we're ready. I think we got it all covered.
Okay. So before we start talking about specific players answering your questions, let's get this out of the way. We do need to know who's in and who's out, right? Injury updates. So let's start with Mike Evans. It looks like he's out. Well, we already knew that because he's suspended. No injury to report there. And that's kind of bad timing because Julio Jones also very much in question. I know Chris is trying to hide the shock on his face there. And then, Chris Godwin, of course, we know he's out also. Russell Gage is questionable. Pretty much the whole Tampa offense is questionable again. So just keep that in mind. Sammy Watkins, I think we're all going to collectively try to pretend not to be shocked. He's not playing because he's hurt. And this also goes for that exact same game. Green Bay, I think pretty much, is there any receiver on their roster that isn't questionable? Maybe Romeo Doubs?
I think Lazard and Dobbs are the only guys. Like Watson is questionable, Cobb's questionable. I think it's Doubs and Lazard are the only healthy guys.
And Lazard last week, I mean, he played, but he only, targeted like 3 times, I think, and he kind of limped off at one point. It's not like he's a full 100% go. So, you know what? Maybe this is the Romeo Doubs game. Maybe. Hunter Renfrow is out, concussion protocol, not going to play. And that his doppelganger, Kyle Phillips in Tennessee, in that same game is doubtful, but probably not going to play.
Probably
right? Doubtful,
play, yeah.
Wrong side of doubtful, which is
very wrong side of doubtful for sure.
All right, same game there. Josh Jacobs is questionable. I honestly had just scratched him off my rankings list because I thought that he didn't travel with the team, and now they're saying he did travel, but he's still questionable.
He didn't travel with the team. He traveled separately today. It's just an illness, so I guess that usually means there's a chance he'll go. The fact that he traveled makes me think he's probably going to go. So unfortunately, Zamir White will have to wait a little while before he can break out. But
I know, but that's okay. I can be patient. I have stashed many places. All right, now here's the thing with the Chargers. This is a pretty big one. Justin Herbert. questionable. Now, we know that he played last Thursday. It was a day-to-day thing, but ribs, that's kind of more of a pain tolerance thing. And, of course, that could affect his throwing motion. We might not get 100% of him. And also, I don't know that we need 100% of him because, or at least they won't, because they're going against the Jags. So this could be a down game. We're probably going to get some questions with Herbert. How do you feel about him this week?
Yeah, I mean, if he plays, I think you got to start him, and if he plays, you got to start the Chargers pass catchers because it's the Jags. But the downside is they play the afternoon game or the evening game for those of you on the East Coast, I guess, and that makes it tough for your lineup decisions, right? Because if you're deciding between, Kirk Cousins or Justin Herbert, you can't wait around because, so I feel like he's probably not going to play, but we'll see.
You think he's not going to play?
Yeah, I think they'll give him 1 week. There's no reason to put him out there. Like, I don't think he plays, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. I was thinking he'll probably will go. He'll just not necessarily be his best self, but yeah, basically be ready to pivot. Keenan Allen is also questionable, so keep that in mind. Alvin Kamara had limited practice all week, also questionable, but it kind of sounds like he will go, right? Do you get that impression?
Yeah, I get the impression he will go. I definitely worry. Again, he's got a rib injury, and unlike a quarterback, he gets hit. Well, I mean, quarterbacks get hit, but not as much as a running back. So,
right.
Still, I think he'll play, but definitely not feeling great about him this week.
True that. And then James Conner, ankle issue, kind of similar boat. Sounds like he's going to go. Don't really know what we're going to get out of him, but keep that in mind. He is questionable. Jerry Jeudy, who was very quickly diagnosed by all the Twitter doctors with an AC joint sprain and a broken shoulder, and then he's not anything like that, and he's questionable, and he might go. Any word, any way we're leaning on whether he plays or not?
No, the only report I saw from practice yesterday was he was like stretching during the media portion, so we're not really sure if he actually practiced, but I feel like he probably will play. But again, another guy with ribs, right? But they said it's negative, so yeah.
And there's risk just based on the matchup and the fact that Denver's offense hasn't looked very good. But yeah, that's a guy you might want to be without, but we'll see. Depends on your options. Jacoby Myers coming off a really nice game. And also he gets a great matchup with Baltimore, but he's questionable too. So keep that in mind. Let's see. J.K. Dobbins. If you have him?
Nah, I mean, I think the last I heard from Harbaugh was soon. He'll be ready soon. Which doesn't sound like this week or next week. So, yeah.
I know you all are like super excited to play J.K. Dobbins, but no.
Yeah.
Likely to play, but still questionable. DeAndre Swift, I think you got to play him. Hawkinson, Leonard Fournette, I already mentioned Russell Gage. Gabe Davis, looking like he's going to go. Dawson Knox, Jameis Winston, Hayden Hurst, and Corey Davis. Thoughts on Gabe Davis? If he plays, you feel like you have to put him in there?
I feel like you kind of do. It's a great matchup for him. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. I guess it's the same ankle he's injured like 2 other times. Apparently, he has some issue with this ankle, and yeah, I'm still a little worried. Maybe he's not 100%, but I think if he goes, you got to start him. Obviously, unless you have some great options.
Yeah. Always depends, but that's what we're here for. All right, so we're gonna start getting into the questions. Start, sit, get to the super chats first. So let's do it. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Our first up is Tyler Foley. Thank you, as always, Tyler, loyal viewer. Which 5 or 6 players you definitely bet on having a touchdown? Let's start with an easy one, Chris.
Like the toughest question we're going to get all night for our very first question. I mean, betting on touchdowns is always hard, but I will say Leonard Fournette feels like he's going to get a touchdown because who else is going to score touchdowns for them? I'm gonna say Damian Harris gets a touchdown this week. I feel like in that matchup, they'll be able to move the ball. They'll be able to get down near the goal line. I think he'll score. Let's see. T. Higgins, I think, will get a touchdown against the Jets. Probably Jamar Chase too.
All right.
How many
names ready?
What's that?
Said you had some names lined up and ready. I mean,
no, I'm just thinking off the top of my head some guys. I think David Montgomery, will score a touchdown this week. because he's that entire offense, and not a tough matchup for him. I think he'll score. I think he'll find the end zone. I don't know. Is that 5? Am I good? Am I off the hook? Was that 5?
I think you're good. Look, I'll say, because we partner with Underdog. We play, of course, we have a ton of best ball with them, which, by the way, best ball resurrection is now available. You want to play best ball? I think it's week 6 for the rest of the year. Get in there. I already can, of course, get in there. But when you do those player props, and you talk about the over under, I almost always avoid the touchdowns, because that's so, you cannot predict scores, right? Things happen. So I try to just kind of stay away from that, to be honest. Obviously, you look for players that are going to get a lot of volume or in good matchups. Like, I would say I feel pretty good about A.J. Brown this week, because going against Washington, they should be able to put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
So that's one guy I would go with. And then it's hard to predict for tight ends, but there's a lot of tight ends that are kind of touchdown dependent. Goddard might be a good one. Darren Waller against Tennessee, because Renfro is out. So
yeah,
I like Darren Waller there. But I think that's probably.
I'll tell you one guy I know from looking who's due for. I think he's got the most. He's most due for positive touchdown regression is Cortland Sutton this week. I think I saw like the expected touchdowns. He has the most expected touchdowns, I think, in the league as far as guys who have not scored a touchdown. He doesn't have the most of like every player, but if everybody who hasn't scored yet or hasn't met their expectation, he has the highest. So maybe Sutton finds the end zone this week if that offense can actually do something.
That's a good way to think about it. It's not who's been scoring touchdowns. I might keep who hasn't scored a touchdown that should be scoring a touchdown. That's one way to look at it. But let's go ahead and get to another one. Jason Quinones. Thank you again, Jason. Always with us. So pick 2, Michael Thomas, DJ Moore. Probably
we go from the toughest question to probably the easiest question. Not DJ Moore. Especially this week. Not DJ Moore.
There's no reason to start DJ Moore. And again, Curtis Samuel with a great matchup. And one of the things we talked about that Washington Philly game, could be pretty high scoring, but also we're trying to get into a little bit more and get deeper into as far as coverage schemes. And I know one thing that we've learned is, look, Philly plays a lot as far as keeping their safeties back. They like to keep everything in front of them. I think this is a game where maybe we see Jahan Dotson not be as successful. We see a lot more Curtis Samuel. He gets that intermediate work. Of course, he gets the ball, in the backfield. I think Samuel actually has a really good game this week. And then Thomas, I'd feel better if Jameis Winston was healthy, because he's got a broken back and a bad ankle, but he's still doing pretty good. So, definitely Thomas over Moore. Mr. Peabody. I like that. I like that name. That could be one of my nicknames, right? All right. Need to flex Keenan, Connor, or Olave. Pick one.
I'm going to say you can easily fade Connor. Not going to be 100% with an ankle injury going up against one of the best run defenses in the NFL. I think you can easily sit Connor. I would normally say Keenan, but my worry is he plays in the afternoon or evening for you guys on the East Coast, I guess. What if it's Chase Daniel? Do we trust Keenan as much with Daniel? Whereas I feel good about Olave this week. I feel really good about Olave. I think he's in a good spot. I liked what I saw from him. Like, his week 1 to week 2 progression is exactly what you want to see. I mean, he wasn't Garrett Wilson week 1 to week 2, but he still had a great week 1 to week 2 production, like increase or whatever you want to call it. I think I play it a little, I know it's not necessarily safe, but I think I just roll with Olave because I don't want to have Keenan in my lineup. And then it's like, okay, it's going to be Chase Daniel, and now you're stuck with Keenan, who also isn't 100% coming off a hamstring injury. So I think I'm just going to go with Olave.
I was going to say Keenan himself is still questionable. And we know from last year, he didn't really bounce back quickly. He's not, spring chicken anymore. And then Herbert, questionable. I feel like there's just too many variables there. I would rather not risk taking the 0 with Keenan. And then Connor, like you said, bad matchup, questionable too. Olave is just, which is weird because usually you would say out of those 3, Olave would be just a more boom bust type, but he's kind of the safest this week. So I'd just go with Olave too.
Me too.
Joseph saying, I'm late. No, you're good. And we're early. We're an hour earlier than last week. So you're good.
We're early this week.
And Joe, we're going to see you tomorrow morning anyways, right? He's one of our patrons. So he's popping in to say hi. All right, Tyler says Samuel or Ayuk.
I'm gonna assume he means Curtis Samuel, but whether it's Curtis or Debo, I'm going with the Samuel. Like you just said, I think we really like Curtis Samuel this week. He's in a great spot. You also didn't mention in that matchup, Terry McLaurin is going to get Darius Slay, and we saw what Darius Slay just did to Justin Jefferson. So if he's locking down McLaurin and Dotson's not finding a lot of space, Samuel's going to have be a big target guy this week. And Ayuk in a tough matchup with Jimmy G, Samuel for me.
Yeah, I mean, Samuel's in a good spot. And, if you guys watched our bust video, I did mention Brandon Ayuk. So, I'm down on him this week. So, for me, it's an easy one. Curtis Samuel. All right, Henry Odom. Full PPR. If you got 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex, he's got Pittman, Sutton, St. Brown, Dillon, Barkley, Williams, Pierce, Pitt, and Thomas. So, I guess we're making a lineup here. So, I'm gonna work backwards. I say a tight end, you have to go Pitts. I mean, he's due for a bounce back game, and it's Seattle, Atlanta. I think he can do something, right? Don't you think you have to start Pitts?
Yeah, I can't. If he doesn't do anything this week, then we can start talking about benching Pitts. But for right now, I got to roll with Pitts again this week for sure.
All right, and then I guess we're running backs. Okay, so
you got to play Barkley.
You got to start Barkley and probably still Dillon too, right?
I know I had Javonte on our bus video, and I know it's a tough matchup for Javonte, but Dillon's got an even worse matchup. Pierce is actually the one with the best matchup, but it's Pierce. It's like, it's Pierce. I think I still go slightly Javonte. At least Javonte, he might not do a lot on the ground, but Javonte at least is like Melvin Gordon is barely catching any passes. Javonte is pretty much the guy in the receiving game for Denver, whereas Dillon and Jones split on that. I mean, Barkley, I think I can still go Javonte, though. I think I still do. I mean, they're both him and Dillon in tough spots this week.
I mean, yeah, you got to start Barkley. That's obvious to me. I think Dillon gets enough usage this week because all the receivers are hurt almost. And, I do think they have to try to run the ball. And Dillon is getting some receiving work. Here's the thing with Javonte. And again, I'm assuming this is Javonte, not Jamal Williams. But yeah, it's probably Javonte considering the state of your lineup. He might bail you out just because, again, Judy is, we don't know. And this is probably going to be a low-scoring game. But this could be one of those games like week 1 where he gets like 10 catches, right?
Yeah.
Or he can always score a touchdown. He's the kind of guy who can rip off a 20-plus yard run. You never know what happens. They get the ball in the red zone, a turnover or something. He always has touchdown upside. So for me, it's close with Dillon and Williams. You probably say you can go Javonte because of that. I do still think he has more upside in terms of catching passes because it is full PPR. Now Pittman, Sutton, St. Brown. I mean, we can't ever again in the rest of our lives bench the sun god. So,
I mean, you got to start those guys as your 2 wide receivers in your flex, right?
Yeah, there's your flex.
I can't bench any of those guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, back for more. He wants to know, pick one, Ayuk, Metcalf, or Duvernay.
Okay, I take it back. This is going to be the toughest question of the night because I don't want any of these guys in my lineup. But I'm going to say Ayuk because at least Ayuk can rack up some yards. Duvernay, you're hoping for a home run. Duvernay, it's like maybe he returns the kick again like he did last week, right? Like what the heck? Like, Metcalf has to score a touchdown. I've talked about it. Metcalf has only gone over 60 yards. Well, he's only gone over 60 yards with Geno Smith one time, and that's because he took a pass 84 yards to the house all by himself. It was like a 10-yard pass, and he broke a tackle and went 84 yards to the house, which sure he can do, but are you going to bank on that? At least Ayuk has a chance to catch like 4 passes for, 60, 70 yards. So I don't love any of these guys, but I'm going to go with Ayuk.
Yeah, it can't be Duvernay because, again, he's all or nothing on a big play. You always want to chase target share, and clearly out of those 3, nothing against Devin Duvernay, but he's clearly the third most talented of that group. So, look, San Francisco's kind of the better offense than Seattle's. But Seattle has a better matchup, like by far, on the road against Denver, which is why I picked Ayuk as a bust. And no, I can't say I love Metcalf, but I think I would still put him slightly over Ayuk this week because he does have that red zone upside. He does have that big play upside, right? So,
well, if he makes the big play, he's not going to make a big play with
but
Geno.
he could.
Because what is Geno's ADOT this year? It's like it's like two yards lower than like any other quarterback in the league. It's like he's just scrolling through. He's just throwing screen passes, right? He's just like, oh man, it's terrible out there.
It was somehow Tyler Lockett ended up with like 100 yards last week. So look, you never know. All right, I slightly lean Metcalf. I don't love any of them, but I slightly lean Ayuk, right?
Yeah, I don't love any of them.
All right, so flip a coin between those two. Tyler's asking if Herbert's out, who do you like, Mariota, Fields, or Mac Jones? Which is interesting because of the matchup, right? He gets that Baltimore defense that was just embarrassed by Tua.
Yeah, that's Tua with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who also were down like 3 scores and just were in like full on like hurry up comeback mode. So I'm not like expecting that from Mac Jones, that's for sure. I go Mariota here. I like the matchup for him. He gives you a little bit of those legs, not as much as Fields will, but he'll throw the ball a lot more than Fields will. And he's got weapons now. Hopefully they get Pitts going. I go Mariota out of these guys.
Yeah, I prefer Mariota too. I kind of like Fields as a sneaky play in like a deeper league because, I mean, you saw he ran in one and almost ran in a second touchdown. This is Houston. He's going to have a lot more opportunities, but I still think Mariota is the safer play here.
Yeah.
I do think they at least tried to get Darnell Mooney the ball this week. I'm hoping they
Let's
do.
hope.
Maybe that's just me being overly optimistic. All right. Adam Thumb. I have to start one receiver and one flex. Okay, we got Sutton, Pittman, Robinson, Samuel, Dotson. Okay, so we're only picking 2 out of those guys.
I'm going Sutton and Pittman, especially he says half-point PPR. Sutton's a big play guy. He doesn't need like the thing with Samuel. I like Curtis Samuel this week, but if Curtis Samuel only catches 3 or 4 passes, he's not going to have a big game unless he scores a touchdown or rips off like a huge yard after catch, game. Whereas Sutton can catch 3 or 4 passes and still get you, 70, 80 yards. So I'm going to go Sutton and Pittman for my wide receiver and flex.
I think it definitely has to be Pittman for one as your receiver.
Yeah,
and I definitely think not Dotson out of that group. I'm really leery on Sutton. I might lean Allen Robinson just because, look, we know that Arizona is a team that is, well, first of all, not very good defense, right? But this is a team that blitzes a lot, and Matthew Stafford actually does better against teams that blitz a lot, and he has shredded the Cardinals in the past. So I do feel like this could be another good game for Robinson. It's not guaranteed, but I kind of feel better about his chances than Sutton. So I lean Sutton. I think Samuel's also a good pick, but I don't have him over those guys for what you just said, Chris. So definitely Pittman, and I guess we're kind of in the same situation. I slightly lean Robinson, you slightly lean Sutton. So take your pick.
Well, he's also asking Wilson or Wentz at QB.
You're right. Missed that one.
I assume he means Russell Wilson.
Probably Russell Wilson.
Well, it can't be Zach.
If you're going with Sutton, then maybe you go Russ, right? You stack him.
Yeah, and look, I know Russ has been bad, and I know Wentz has been awesome, but at some point that's gonna flip. Like eventually talent rises, and at some point Wilson's going to get going here. And look, he knows San Francisco. It's not like he's never seen this defense. He's seen them twice every single year. He knows this defense. So, and I think the San Francisco passing defense, their running defense is elite. I think their passing defense is a little inflated because they got the Bears in a monsoon. And then last week, who they did like an easy matchup last week too, didn't they? Who did play last week?
You're gonna test my memory. San Francisco last week was almost there. Seattle.
Yeah, so I mean, they played 2 terrible pass offenses. So, I'm not ready to say that their passing defense is elite. Scare me completely away from. So,
well, that's a good point. You just mentioned it. I mean, Lockett put up 100 yards on them. Their corners, San Francisco's cornerbacks have not graded out well so far, and they had easy matchups. So, yeah, Sutton is go. Yeah, and I agree because Philly's defense we thought was going to be really good this year, and they looked bad in week 1. Then they looked just dominant in week 2, and that's kind of more what we expected. So, I'm going to agree with you. You got to go with Wilson, which makes me think, well, then just ride or die and go with Sutton, right?
Yeah, I'm stacking them. I'm not scared.
T. Higgins or Cortland Sutton?
Okay, you know I love Cortland Sutton, but I love T. Higgins too, and he's playing the Jets. You have if T. Higgins is on your team, he has to be in your lineup this week. Like unless it's like you have to play him over Chase or Jefferson or Cup or something like that, he's got to be in your lineup against the Jets.
Yeah, and he was the leading receiver last week. It wasn't Chase. It was T. Higgins. Yeah, T. Higgins is a must start pretty much. Yeah, I agree. T. Higgins, love the show. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the super chat. Got to keep going. So let's go Jordan Singh. We got to pick 2. Dylan, Pierce, Henderson, A-Rob, or IU. Let's get to the first question, and then we'll answer the second question, maybe.
Which one is the cutest? Okay, I know you're gonna call me crazy. I mean, I think out of that group, A-Rob's a must for the reasons you said. I think that Cardinals-Rams game is gonna be high scoring on both sides, actually, but definitely on the Rams side. So I think A-Rob's a must. I'm gonna go Dameon Pierce. I don't like Dylan. Like, we have not seen a running back, even Christian McCaffrey. Like, go back, look last year. I don't know if maybe he wasn't healthy for the Tampa Bay games, but look 2 years ago when he played Tampa Bay. His worst games are always against Tampa Bay. This run defense is elite. So I'm going to go Pierce. I think he gets 15-plus carries, catches a couple passes, and he's got an extremely good matchup this week, I think. And it could also be a game where they're actually winning or at least in contention and they don't just have to throw it a bunch. So I'm going to go A-Rob and Pierce.
Yeah, definitely A-Rob for me. Like, Henderson is still in a timeshare, right? I mean, until one of those guys really breaks out or gets injured, he's not better than those guys. I get it. No, on paper, I think Pierce is probably the better choice because he gets the Bears defense. I still slightly lean Dylan just because I think of volume. I feel better about him, but it's close there. So you can kind of take your pick, Dylan and Pierce. Which one is the cutest? I think anybody who has, monster quads riding on a tricycle, it's got to be AJ Dillon.
That's true.
All right. Let's now go to, I think it's Sabasen. Had you on last week. Thoughts on Cordarrell and Gibson? You're worried. I think you should trade Gibson if you can trade him because Brian Robinson's coming back pretty soon.
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times, and I'm pretty sure I had Gibson on the Sell High video because even if Robinson comes back and isn't necessarily the guy, he's going to be a guy. And now you're talking about Gibson, McKissick, and Brian Robinson all being in the mix, and that's just not fantasy friendly, right? Like, now Gibson's just a touchdown dependent guy pretty much. So you should be worried about him, and you should be looking to trade him. Hopefully he has a nice game this week, and maybe he scores a touchdown or two, and you can trade him. I'll tell you, this is my thought on Cordarrell right now. I'm going to tell you I'm a little worried, but it's going to depend on what happens this weekend. Because in week 1, I don't think people realized Damian Williams was the lead back until he got hurt early in the first quarter, and then they didn't have anybody else because Algier wasn't even active. And so Cordarrell got all these carries, got all this work against a terrible defense, and put up these numbers. Well, what did we see last week with Algier active? 10 and 10. 10 carries for CPAT, 10 for Algier. I'm not convinced CPAT is just the lead back getting all the work type of guy. It'll depend what happens this week. But remember, they drafted him for a reason. I'm not a huge Algier guy. I didn't think he was like a great prospect, but they drafted him for a reason. So we'll see what happens this week. If it's all CPAT, then no, you don't have to be worried. But if Algier's in the mix a lot or even getting more of the carries, then yeah, you're gotta be worried.
That's exactly right. And the thing with Algier is he got, I think, 10 carries, 30 yards. So he didn't look great, but this was his first game, right?
And the Rams.
Yeah, and not a great matchup, but he was getting work early. I think on the first series he even was in there. It's not like he came in garbage time or, just an afterthought. And like you said, they had to shift gears now. All of a sudden, this is a guy who could be splitting time with Cordarrell. And so whether you think he's great or not, doesn't matter. Like, is Cordarrell going to be for sure a running back that gets majority of the touches? Not necessarily, because remember, the second half of last year, he fell hard, right? So this actually might be a sell high also. I mean, it depends how you consider high, but after that week 1 performance, yeah, this might be the time because this could be a very different Atlanta offense that we see now. Could we have Desmond Ridder in quarterback end of the year? I think we will. So yeah, I guess both those guys are people to sell. Like, if you have to start one this week, I mean, I don't know if that's what you're asking, but if you have to start one, who would you go with?
I mean, I'd probably go with Gibson because, again, I am a little nervous that, like, Algier, first game active after not being active week 1, gets just as much work as Cordarrell. And, again, I don't think the plan was for Cordarrell to be just a workhorse in week 1. So I'm a little nervous that we're going to see more Algier than we think. So I'm going to go Gibson. Always has a chance to score. Not a great matchup, but I'm going to go Gibson.
Yeah, you look and you think, well, Cordarrell has a better matchup with Seattle's defense, but that's going to be a lower scoring game. Washington is going to have to score. I go with Gibson too, if you have to choose between one, but try to sell them both, honestly. Yeah. All right, Sam Weatherly, also regular here. Thank you, Sam. Edmonds or Chark, and then Dubs or Noah Brown. Okay, so Edmonds or Chark.
All right, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm going to say Chark. Chark's actually in a sneaky good spot this week. Big playability is definitely there for Chark. And look, the thing about the Dolphins, what have we seen so far? Week 1, it was all Edmonds. Week 2, it was all Mostert. Is it going to be all Edmonds this week, or is it going to be all Mostert, or is it going to be a split? Like, I don't feel like trying to figure that out. Like, if you start Edmonds and it's all Mostert again, well, you're screwed, right? So Chark has some sneaky upside this week. I'm going to go with Chark.
I'm actually going to go Chark too. Exactly the same. We don't know what to expect from Edmonds, and this is a game going against Buffalo.
That's the other thing.
I wouldn't take the chance because Chark, at least Detroit's going to have to pass the ball a lot to keep up. So I'd rather just take the shot on the home run there because, look, he's been reaching the end zone. So, and then Dubs or Noah Brown. Well, I'll start by saying I picked up Noah Brown in a league where I needed to. And I'm starting him, flexing him out because it's a good matchup and, I don't have any better options. So I'll take the chance on Brown because, look, he's the leading receiver on Dallas so far. Take that for what it's worth, but he's involved and he's looking pretty good. So I go Brown.
Yeah, I go Brown too. Like, I mean, this Bucks defense is just loaded, right? Even in the secondary. So a rookie going against the Bucks, that doesn't excite me. I mean, Brown doesn't really excite me too much either, but he's like the number 2 receiver right now, and especially if Dalton Schultz is out. So,
good point. And I did this even before we knew Schultz. I mean, we knew he had banged up, but we weren't for sure. And it doesn't look like he's going to play. Gallup, they're saying, oh, maybe he'll play. He'll be out there as a decoy. He'll be out there for a few snaps. So that doesn't matter. Noah Brown's getting targeted a lot. So I definitely would go with him. All right. Henderson or Akers? You know how this is going to go, right?
Oh.
Just split sides here. Akers, Henderson.
Neither. I mean, so I think Roberto asked this in the Discord. I said, well, okay, do you want the guy who's going to get, like 14 to 15 carries at like 2.5 yards per carry and maybe catch a couple passes? Or do you want the guy who's going to get like 10 carries at like 4.5 yards per carry and probably not catch any passes? Like, I don't know. Neither? I want neither. But if I had to choose,
you have to start one.
If I have to choose, I have to go with Akers. I always got to chase the volume because
you're going with Akers.
More volume means more chances to score. So I'm going to go with Akers, but they're probably both going to be bad this week, to be honest.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but go with Akers until he proves he's not healthy, or you know what I mean. I always pick the guy I think runs with more urgency. That's clearly Akers at this point.
All right. He runs with more urgency, but he's just really slow.
Yeah,
he only has one Achilles.
Effort counts. All right, and then I have Gallup and Mostert, Devontae, or one of them.
Devontae. Love Devontae
Smith. You definitely want to start Devontae Smith.
Yeah, great matchup for him.
Guys, if you have Gallup, don't start him. I don't care if he plays or not. Don't start him.
And I think I said it on the running back start sit with Miles Sanders. I want every player I can get against this Washington defense until further notice. I mean, beyond bad.
It's true. All right, Terry R. Russ or Fields, Sutton or Jones, Ertz or Everett. All right, quarterback first. Russ or Fields. I think it's got to be Russ.
Got to be Russ.
Sutton or Aaron Jones. Do the same thing. Double up with the stack. Go Sutton.
Yeah, definitely. Again, tough match for Aaron Jones. And like people say, like, oh, they're going to throw him the ball a ton. Well, they've thrown A.J. Dillon the ball more through 2 games so far. So I don't know why people keep thinking like Aaron Jones is going to get all these catches. Like A.J. Dillon's getting them too. So got to go Sutton.
and then Ertz or Everett.
Gotta go. I mean, Ertz. Until D-Hop comes back and Rondale Moore is healthy, Ertz is pretty much an every week must start. But I think especially this week, you got to start Ertz.
This would clearly be Ertz no matter what for me. And the fact Justin Herbert may not even play or not be 100% just makes it kind of a no-brainer there. So definitely we say Russ, Sutton, Ertz.
Correct.
All right. Thanks for the questions. Jason. Chiefs over Colts, Bills over Dolphins.
Well, I know how you're gonna feel about the second one. I mean, yeah, you gotta like look, that's where if you take your heart out of it, that's where your head has to go, right? I will say that Bills secondary is really banged. I mean, that Bills the secondary especially, but even the defense is really banged. Like the Dolphins are getting the Bills probably the weakest they could possibly be right now. So there's a chance for the Dolphins to pull off the win this week, and everybody, especially Pierre here, really lose their minds after week 3 here. So I could see that. I could see the Dolphins winning that one, but Chiefs, like the Colts beating the Chiefs would be like a huge upset, right? Huge upset.
I will say just generally, if we do pick'ems, there's a lot of teams, we just assume after 2 weeks, a team that's 0-2, they're just going to be terrible all year, right? And usually this is the week where it happens, right? The bounce back. Those teams, they are desperate. They have that. They know that if they start 0-3, that's it. They're pretty much screwed, right? They're not going to make the playoffs. And it's going to be a lost season. So this is where you're going to see those upsets. You're going to see those 0-2 teams come out fighting. And on the other side of the team, it looks like it's going to go to the Super Bowl, is going to get upset, right? Look, if Justin Herbert doesn't play, who's to say the Chargers don't lose that game? I don't think they will. But, Chiefs over Colts. Colts should be much better than they are, but I'm still taking the Chiefs. And then the Bills, look, I could see the Dolphins doing it. Against the spread, maybe I'll go Miami, but straight up, I'm going Bills. I'm nothing if not rational. How do we feel about Everett this week? Well,
I mean, so it's funny. So I was talking to a friend of mine. We co-manage a team together when we have Everett, and we were talking like, okay, if Herbert doesn't play, do we go out and get really the only guys on the waiver that we're even interested in are maybe Ty Conklin, maybe Evan Ingram. And we both kind of agreed, even with Chase Daniel, he still may target Everett a lot. Chase Daniel probably hurts Mike Williams more than anybody as far as the pass catchers go. And Everett always has a chance to score. So I think he's still startable. I think the guys if Higbee's somehow still on your wire, I would start him. If Hayden Hurst is still on your wire, I'd probably prefer him. But I think Everett's still a decent start over most tight ends that are on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think I have him just outside my top 10. The thing is, if Keenan Allen doesn't go, that's still pretty good for Everett in his target share, and he's going against the Jaguars, right? So I think he's still startable. Look, like Kittle is back, so you don't have to find a replacement if you're a Kittle owner, right? And you were riding Everett, then no, you start Kittle. If you're a Dalton Schultz owner and you need a pivot, yeah, Everett's probably a pretty solid pick. So I don't love him as much as last week, but he's still streamable if you need him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes these backup quarterbacks, a guy like Chase Daniel comes in, you know what they do? They take the easy shot, they dump it off. I think this could be an Eckler week, honestly. I think this is a big Austin Eckler week. But yeah, I think Everett's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Start 3. 2 receivers and a flex. We got McLaurin, Juju, Thomas, Bateman, or J-Rob.
I'm gonna go. I know it's gonna sound crazy to say no to McLaurin, but man, after what Diggs did to Jefferson and knowing he's not the guy there anymore. He's still their number 1 wide receiver, but they now have Dotson and Samuel there taking targets from him. I don't love Thomas this week, but he's been fine. I like Bateman a lot this week, and I like J-Rob a lot this week. So, I mean, Bateman and J-Rob are the 2 I feel good about. I mean, I guess I could see a case for McLaurin over Thomas. He always has that big play ability, which Thomas doesn't right now. Thomas has pretty much got to score a touchdown, I feel like. So, I don't know. How do you feel? I'm sure you're with me on Bateman and J-Rob. And I'm sure you're with me on not Juju.
I'm definitely starting Bateman. Juju's not bad. That Colts defense has been pretty bad. It's just you don't know what you're getting. I mean,
Exactly.
it's going to be so up and down. So you can't feel great about Juju, and you do have more solid options. It's hard because I do feel the same about Terry McLaurin. Don't expect a good game from him. I almost put him as a bust this week, but he's always got that big play potential. But man, yeah, Darius Slay is going to be on him quite a bit. So I do feel Bateman for sure for me. At the flex, I think J-Rob just because of the volume. Even though it's not a great matchup, but still.
Yeah, Chargers.
We're not seeing Etienne at all.
Yeah, and Chargers haven't been that good against the run this year. I mean, we saw CEH last week ripping off huge runs. Right. So I think there'll be chances for J-Rob.
Yeah, they're definitely better than last year's defense, that's for sure. But better against the pass, like you said. Yeah. That's where they've seen the improvement.
Yes.
The third one is I go between Thomas and McLaurin. I think honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might go Thomas.
That was my first instinct too, just because, man, I mean, Jefferson didn't have a terrible game, but when you hold Jefferson to 7 catches for 70 yards or whatever he got, that's a huge win for a DB. That's you won. And that's Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in the game. I love Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin's really good, but he's not getting 12 targets like Justin Jefferson did. No way. So,
right.
Yeah, I think I might go Thomas, as crazy as it sounds.
Okay, that was a tough one. All right, Phil's asking, DK Metcalf or Sterling Shepard? Man,
I can easily go Sterling Shepard here, because if I'm going to take a guy who's not going to get a lot of yards, at least give me one who's going to catch a bunch of passes, and that's going to be Sterling Shepard. So I like Shepard this week.
Look, Shepard's actually not a bad play as a flex because, like you said, he's the leading receiver for what that's worth for the Giants. I mean, we know he's a good receiver. He's been really good in the past. In fact, 2 years ago, but last year was just a lost year, but 2 years ago, he was one of the better receivers in terms of efficiency metrics. And that's still with Daniel Jones. Now we got Dayball, a better offensive mind. This isn't going to be a great offense because of the personnel. Look, Tony is, again, I think not playing. Wan'Dale Robinson still not playing.
Yeah.
He's going to be the leading receiver. And we know Trayvon Diggs likes to roll the dice. Good chance he makes a big play. Good chance he gets a good target share. So, yeah, I would go Shepard too. And I kind of low-key like Shepard anyways. Okay, so we're going to go here to Jonathan Carey. Threw down $9.99 for the super chat. His question was up here, though. Pick 3. Carter, Aaron Jones, probably Lizard, Metcalf, and Edmonds. Pick 3.
Well, in this case, I can definitely play Aaron Jones. Don't love him this week, but I love him a lot more than those guys. I think I probably go Michael Carter next because at least we know he's getting receptions. And Jets probably going to have to throw it a ton again unless we think the Bengals offense is just going to be a bottom 5 offense this year, which I don't. And then this is probably one time where I'll say Metcalf. I did not like what I saw from Lazard last week. I thought Lazard would at least be more involved. But like you said, he saved his day with that touchdown. But three targets, 2 just not involved the way I expected. So I'm going to go Carter, Jones, and Metcalf. 3 guys I don't like. I'm going to pick them.
No, these are the options we're given, right? To me, Edmonds is last just because we have no idea what to expect. It is still a tough matchup for a running back. Having Micah Hyde out doesn't really help Chase Edmonds that much, right? And then Lazard, like you said, not a good matchup. We don't know. Between Lazard and Metcalf, I mean, clearly Metcalf, the better receiver. He doesn't have the better quarterback, but he's going to have the better target share. So, Carter, Jones, and Metcalf it is. Ron is asking between Dylan, Juju, Julio, or Olave. I'm guessing we're picking one here.
I'm gonna go Olave again. I think he's got a lot of upside in this matchup. I mean, I don't expect him to get 13 targets again, but the fact that he leading the team in targets after 2 weeks makes me feel good about him and Jameis. And Jameis, we know Olave also running more of the vertical routes in this offense, and we know Jameis likes to throw the vertical ball. Dylan, I know, is going to get the volume, but man, it's the Bucks. I mean, he might run 15 times for 45 yards. So you can always score, of course, but I think I'm going Olave.
Yeah, and then that's where, I mean, look, Julio, we don't even know who's going to play. The Julio's just no. He's not even a factor here. And you can't feel great about Juju. I know the matchup is good. Maybe Juju does have a good game, but I'm not going to count on it. So to me, between those two guys, I'm leaning Dylan just because, yeah, he probably will average like 3 yards per carry, maybe less. But he's going to get those carries because they don't have anybody to throw to, really. And he is getting some receptions out of the backfield, right? He's not just between the tackles. And he's got that touchdown upside. So I kind of feel better about Dylan. You know, with Olave, Jameis Winston isn't 100%. He looked kind of bad last week, honestly. And we don't know what to expect. So I lean Dylan. Not a great play, but, you know, I do feel you get something from him. Olave is just a lot riskier. Don't know how to say that. But let's start James Robinson or Dameon Pierce.
Okay, I like Pierce. I like the matchup, but I still got to go James Robinson. I don't think the matchup is like you said. The Chargers defense is really good this year, but it's really good against the pass. Like Mahomes was good last week, but he wasn't like incredible Patrick Mahomes because this is a really good passing defense. CEH only got the ball 8 times and had what, like, I don't know, 80 something yards, whatever it was. Like James Robinson is going to get the ball 15 plus times in this game against a bad defense. And he'll probably catch some passes too. And he always has a chance to score. So I'm going to go James Robinson.
This is really close. It's really close here. And I get you might be tempted by Pierce because he really has less competition for touches. But Jacksonville offense is just a little bit better than Houston's. Houston's offense is not good. And this is why I was never crazy about Pierce. Maybe he is that guy, but it doesn't matter when you're behind a bad offensive line and a team that can't score. That Houston-Chicago game just might be a really boring game with nobody scores. So, yeah, I lean James Robinson. Terry R. back again. Trade Keenan for Zeke.
No. Nobody should be trading for Zeke right now. Unless you're just like, well, actually, I don't even know. Like, no. Keep Keenan out. Definitely.
I mean, look, trade Keenan Allen, that's fine, but you can get somebody better than Zeke. I mean, get James Robinson.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
If somebody will trade him, I mean, I don't know.
Or get Pierce now before he has a good game or something.
All right. Johnny Camarena gave us quite a few last week. Was with us for a while. So thank you for coming back, Johnny. So Aaron Jones or Sanders? All
right. I know I'm going to shock you, but I'm going to go Miles Sanders. Like I said, I want anybody I can get against this Washington defense. They're so bad. Like, what did Jamal Williams average like 5 yards per carry last week or something? It was like crazy. Like, this defense is, I said it, and I truly, truly mean this. I've been a Washington fan my whole life, which is a long life. I don't remember this team ever having a defense this bad. Like, DeAndre Swift caught a pass, fell on his back, got up, and ran untouched into the end zone from like 20 yards out. Like, this isn't even like, this is barely an NFL level defense right now. It's a complete joke, a complete mess. Miles Sanders, we know, has home run potential. He's a good running back, and he's getting enough work. And this could be a game like we saw last week against Minnesota, where they're way up and he's getting carries, to run out the clock and picking up huge yardage. So I got to go Miles Sanders.
No, I can't disagree with anything you just said. It's true. Miles Sanders might look like a Barry Sanders this week, right? Based on that defense. I just can't pick him because the thing is he's so limited. He'll need that big play. He'll need that touchdown, and he might get it, right? He definitely could get it, but in full PPR, because he's not a pass catching back. He's splitting time. So look, if you need the upside, maybe hopeful guy that does hit that home run, yeah, Sanders is it. But I still have Jones ranked a little bit higher just because he's going to get some receptions because of all the injuries we already mentioned. I hate the matchup. I know I hate the matchup, but I can't put the matchup so much over the situation, the talent. You know what I mean? I like Jones because Jones has that home run hitting ability too, right? We can't deny he gets the ball on the flat, he gets the ball and he takes it to the corner. So that's my thing. Is Jones has that same home run ability, but he also catches passes.
I mean, he's got that same home run ability, but it's hard to hit those. It's much easier to hit those home runs against my Commanders than it is against Bucks.
Yeah, I know you're. Look,
it's like facing Max Scherzer or some some rookie call-up pitcher who's making his first start, right? Like, yeah. That's
see.
the best I can do for baseball.
Maybe Washington defense has their bounce back week. Maybe they do pitch a shutout.
Maybe.
You don't know. All right. Watch you every day. You to the best. Well, thank you, GK.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Aaron Jones, another Aaron Jones question. We're gonna get a lot of Aaron Jones questions. Or Brees Hall.
Put him on the thumbnail. I know I've been kind of dogging Aaron Jones today, but I got to go Aaron Jones here. Brees Hall still isn't there yet. He's still not involved enough. We need to see more from Brees Hall before I can fully trust him in my lineup. And yeah, Aaron Jones has a tough matchup, but I think you still got to go with Aaron Jones.
Yeah. So, I just kind of defended Aaron Jones. Brees Hall, we love Brees Hall, and long term, you're going to be glad you have Brees Hall. This week, you may not be glad just because, if they're down big to the Bengals, we'll see if the Bengals have a bounce back week. They definitely need it. Brees Hall just still not getting the volume. He is a superior talent, but for now, between the two timeshares, you want the timeshare for the Jets or the timeshare for the Packers? Look, I get the matchup thing, but it's not like the Jets are in a great spot. So if Cincinnati comes out angry, they thump the Jets, not going to be a great week for Brees Hall. We have to clarify here. I'm actually going to go backwards. I was looking for this. Okay. So you remember this question, Adam? He said Robinson, but then later he clarified. I had to throw this up there because he put it up. If I can get to it, he said he meant. We're almost there. Sorry, guys. A lot of questions. He said he meant James Robinson, not Allen for flex.
I'm not sure. What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just trying to go back and look at what it says. So I guess, Adam, you don't have to do the super chat. You can just make a comment and maybe restate your question. We want to try to clarify for you. Or you can throw it in the Discord, which is a good time. We're coming to come up on the 1 hour mark, guys. We're still working through the super chats. Keep putting your questions on. We're going to try to get to as many as possible. Obviously, we're doing super chats first. If you don't get your question answered or you just want to ask it right now, join the Discord, right? And put it in the start sit or any area that you want. We have a ton of channels there. So we'll try to get this figured out. All right, Randy Cortez, Dylan versus the Bucks or Penny versus Atlanta?
I know I've been talking about this terrible matchup for Dylan, but you can't play Penny. I know it's Atlanta, but Ken Walker healthy, Travis Homer's catching passes. Penny is just a touchdown to Penny guy at this point. Dylan can still score. I got to go Dylan.
I had such high hopes for Penny for that Seattle running game. We'll see, but you can't start Penny now, especially with Kenneth Walker in the mix. You really can't do it. Maybe this is the game where they really kind of try to establish the run because they won't be playing from behind as early, but I'm not counting on it. I go with Dylan.
Yeah.
I don't hate Dylan this week. So Seth Hartman is asking, start two, ATN or J-Rob, Chark, Nico Collins.
Oh, man. I don't really want the entire Jacksonville backfield.
No.
That doesn't sound great to me. Collins did actually get 9 targets last week. He finally got involved, and it is the Bears. But my worry is, unlike last week where they're playing from behind and they're throwing a ton. Well, no, I guess they weren't really that far behind last week. So, J-Rob is the one guy here I feel good about. He's the one guy here I feel good about. I wish you said start one, and then we could just move on. But you said start two, so I got to pick a second one.
That would be too easy.
Yeah.
I don't think you can start Etienne, honestly. He's just not touching the ball. He's not. And this is not a great matchup. A road game going to the West Coast. And yeah, I can't start Etienne. I would start J-Rob because he's kind of owning the backfield.
Yeah.
Let me make it easier. I talk you to Nico Collins. All right, so they're going against Chicago. And so far, if this stat is right, they say that Jalen Johnson, the top corner for Chicago, hasn't even been targeted this year. Nobody's even throwing his way. All right, so he's good. We know this. Brandon Cooks will be the one mainly on that side. I think Nico Collins against the otherwise pretty mediocre Chicago defense actually might get a lot of targets. This is a chance for him to kind of show up more. And he did show up more last week, right? Not great. I don't expect a great game from Nico Collins. But again, with Chark, it's going to be kind of boom or bust, right? Score a touchdown or don't. Etienne, it's kind of just bust. So I'd rather have Nico Collins.
All right, well, you sold me because I'm not like I don't love Chark either. Like Chark has some sneaky upside, but he has some sneaky bust potential too. So, all right, fine. J-Rob and Collins, you sold me.
There you go. Trying to make life easier for you, Seth. It's always easier when you agree. Humberto Juarez asking a trade offer for Wentz and Samuel. They want Metcalf and Etienne. So this is like the big names from the preseason or the guys who are actually doing something in the regular season. So which way do you go?
I'm going to go for the Wentz and Samuel side just to get Samuel. Like, I'm guessing you don't need Wentz because hopefully you have a better QB than Wentz, but I have not been on Metcalf the whole offseason, and I haven't seen anything to get me on Metcalf, and I loved Etienne, but haven't loved what I've seen from Etienne so far. So I think out of that, Samuel's the best piece out of that trade. I'll just take him and drop Wentz and pick somebody else up. Pick somebody up off waivers, like maybe somebody Pierre talked about in the Beat the Breakout video.
Yeah. What's interesting here is you're talking about a quarterback on one side and not on the other. So, I mean, it really depends. I mean, you need a quarterback or you don't, right? If you're getting Wentz, maybe because you lost Trey Lance, I don't know. So that's the thing. We don't really know. Look, Etienne, I hate to feel you're selling low on him because maybe he does get more involved later, right? Maybe J-Rob gets hurt. Who knows? So I hate giving up on Etienne. But if you need a quarterback and you're getting Wentz, I think it's okay. I think that's fine. And look, I don't have DK Metcalf, I don't think, on any of my redraft teams. I don't think I have him at all. And I love DK Metcalf, but I knew he wasn't going to do very well in fantasy this year. So I'm okay getting Samuel for him.
Yeah.
Trigger finger came on just trying to do
okay. Wait, we're victory lapping the poor guy who had a season-ending ankle injury in like the first 5 minutes of the game? Come on, that's low. That's low.
Look, you said he was going to get benched. You didn't say he was going to
break his ankle. You didn't say he was going to have a season-ending brutal ankle injury.
Here's the other thing. He said your Trey Lance. Who's Trey Lance are you talking about? He's not my guy. Like, I never claimed him. Did you claim him? Is that your guy?
I mean, I liked Trey Lance for where he was being drafted because of his rushing upside, but it wasn't like it wasn't like Jalen Hurts last year where he was my guy.
Yeah, like Jalen Hurts was your guy. Like, there's no doubt about that. Trey Lance, I don't think we ever claimed him. So, but look, if it makes you feel better,
you can't told you so on a guy who had that kind of injury. That's just low.
All right, Johnny, back for more, asking Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, or Sterling Shepard. That's an interesting one.
Definitely Samuel for me. Like, I like Elijah Moore. I think this could be the week where Elijah Moore rebounds, but it could also be another Garrett Wilson week. And we talked about it. Samuel is in a great spot this week. Slay on McLaurin, those playing those two high safeties, not letting Dotson get deep. I think it's gonna be a lot of Samuel underneath, a lot of Samuel on short throws. So I like Samuel.
Look, I'm so tempted to say Elijah Moore, and I think this could be the week. And there's some promise that he does become the guy. Teams are going to start paying more attention to Garrett Wilson, right? They were paying attention to Elijah Moore, and now they're like, oh, great, now we got to worry about this guy. But yeah, Curtis Samuel, you got to look at who's being more productive, but also this is a good matchup for Samuel. So I barely will say Curtis Samuel. Iron Fist, 286. Michael Carter, Tyler Lockett. Is that Devontae Smith? If it's Devontae Smith, then it's definitely Devontae, right?
Yeah, I can't think of another D Smith, so it's got to be Devontae. So yeah, definitely him. I love him this week.
Yeah. Well, look, he got involved. He had a pretty good game. Didn't score. He had a good game last week. Good matchup. Very good matchup. So yeah, definitely Smith. Ash is asking to flex Gordon, Etienne, Brees, Zamir, Ramondre, or Kenneth Walker.
Boy.
All right, well, let's cross some guys out. I love Zamir, but not yet.
You can cross out Gordon.
Yeah, you could probably cross out Gordon. Bad matchup. Zamir, because look, Jacobs did travel. If he does play, then Zamir's not going to. I would start Zamir anyway, so I'm going to cross him out. We cross Gordon out. What about Walker? Probably not playing Kenneth Walker, right?
Yeah, I'm going to cross Walker out because, again, it's not like he's the guy. He's splitting with Penny, so I'm going to cross him out. To me, it's between Breece and Ramondre.
Yep.
And it's like, who do I trust more? Like, do I trust Ramondre to score more or Breece to score more? Because they're both kind of in a similar situation. They're not going to get a ton of work. I might give Ramondre the slight edge just because of the matchup, but I don't like Ramondre much this week, but I think I give him the slight edge.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I mean, obviously the matchup with Baltimore. Look, Ramondre is going to get more involved. I think they realize they need to get a little bit more balance. Yeah, I'll go Ramondre just because of the matchup. All right, Gary asking, I guess, Cordarrell, DJ Moore, or Bateman?
Definitely Bateman for me.
Yeah. That one's pretty easy. It's definitely Bateman. And look, we're not going to never say DJ Moore. I think there was one question at some point last week that forced you to answer DJ Moore, but you can't feel great about him this week.
If Carolina plays Washington this year, start DJ Moore.
Right. Oh, there you go. That's all it takes. But yeah, Bateman, we know he's the guy in that offense. Patriots defense is not super scary. So Gary, definitely go with Bateman. All right, Connor's asking rest of season.
All right, here we go. I like that. Okay, well.
All right.
Look, Pierce might be the guy rest of the season, but Pierce is Pierce, and he's nothing. He's not this elite. Like Breece Hall is a legit elite running back prospect who the Jets traded up for to basically draft in the first round. It was like pick 2.04. Breece Hall rest of the season for sure over Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, and let me tell you why one reason we're not giving this answer that's definitely Breece Hall. It's not because of draft capital. Once the season starts, like, who cares? That doesn't matter anymore, okay? And I get that people will say, well, Pierce has no competition, right? He's going to own the backfield, and Michael Carter's still there. Michael Carter will barely be there by the time Breece Hall takes over. Both these running backs, like every rookie running back, is getting eased into it. Breece Hall will be the guy, right? And whether you think the Jets or the Texans are going to be better offensively doesn't really matter because neither is going to be an elite offense. Although the Jets look like they have a lot more potential. Breece Hall is just a better running back. He just is.
Way better.
And I definitely go Breece Hall. And he's a guy who will also catch passes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then what about Deontay or Curtis Samuel? That's an interesting one.
Oh, I mean, not for me. It's definitely Deontay. I know it's been nice for Curtis Samuel. He's my guy. I love Curtis Samuel, but Deontay is the unquestioned number one target on this team. It can't get worse. If anything, it's going to stay the same. So Samuel's having a nice run right now, but I still go Deontay.
I think part of what makes it interesting is what if, and even though we know it's not happening this week, and if Mike Tomlin has his way, like Kenny Pickett will never play. I don't know what's going on there, but a lot of people think it's not going to be too long before Pickett's the guy at quarterback. Like, does that make you feel better or worse or the same about Deontay?
Okay, first people said Deontay without Big Ben isn't going to. And look, when you're an elite wide receiver who gets open all over the field, whoever the quarterback is going to throw you the ball. So, and look, Pickens made that incredible catch. But Pickens said, I'm open like 90% of the time. I didn't see him open one time in that game. Even on that incredible catch, he was not open. I did not see him separate at all that entire game. I mean, maybe he did when he wasn't getting the ball thrown to him, but every time I saw him on TV and I watched every snap of that game, I did not see any separation from him. Deontay Johnson is the best wide receiver on that team for now, by far. He's going to get targeted no matter who the quarterback is, so still Deontay for me.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, Pickett can only be an upgrade, I would think.
I hope. So. Hopefully not a downgrade. I mean,
if he isn't an upgrade, that was a really bad waste of a pick, right? For sure.
It's got to be a little worrisome, though, that Tomlin's like, no, Trubisky's our guy. Like, wait, does that mean Pickett is just that bad? That he's like, no, you guys, trust me, guys, you don't want to see Pickett. Like, you think this is bad.
Well, he was amazing in the preseason, so I don't know.
Well, there you go.
All right, yeah, definitely Deontay. All right, thanks for the question. Joe Castles, definitely a loyal viewer. Thank you, Joe. Give Cam Akers a start. It depends.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I'd prefer not to, Like, if you have anybody better, I'd prefer not to. But if he's your best bet, then yeah, you got to. So it depends.
I mean, just like in a vacuum, should you trust Cam Akers? You can play him because he's going to get the ball a decent amount. Obviously, Arizona's defense is not very good, but he's just very much on like the not even the RB2 bubble. He's just more like a RB3, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully you have someone a little more reliable there. Okay, Tyler now wants to know Barkley, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson, James Conner, AJ Dillon, start 2 and a flex.
Well, you got to start Barkley.
Definitely.
I actually really like Damian Harris this week going against Baltimore. So those two for sure for me. And then I think I still got to flex AJ Dillon out of that group. Talked about Conner. He's got a banged up ankle, and he's going against the Rams if he even plays. Jeff Wilson, and it's a tough matchup. So I think I go Barkley, Harris, and Dillon.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Barkley, of course, no-brainer. Damian Harris, great matchup, and he's still the lead guy. And then Dillon, I already said how I don't hate him. So, all right, Tommy is asking Henderson, Pierce, or James Robinson. So I guess we're picking one.
Yeah, and I think we kind of did this one. Did we do Pierce or James Robinson? I think it's really close between them. But I think you got to slightly go James Robinson. It's close between them for me, but I think you got to slightly go James Robinson.
Yeah, Henderson is third of that group.
Definitely Henderson.
I mean, I could definitely see Pierce outscoring Robinson possibly because Chicago's defense isn't too scary, but that Houston offense is just it's not there yet, right? I think they'll get better, but it's not there yet. James Robinson is there. So, yeah, go with James Robinson. He's getting the work. Johnny's asking Goff or Wilson.
Like again, another guy, Goff, playing out of his mind right now. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, like at the end of the season when no one's even talking about Jared Goff or Joe Flacco or Carson Wentz or any of these guys anymore. But I still got to go Russell Wilson. I'm not benching Russell Wilson for Jared Goff. No way.
Yeah, and I get the. You can talk. I can see talking yourself into Goff, right? You're like, oh well, they're gonna throw the ball out. It's not a great defense, but he could also flop, right? He could flop in this game. And Russ has not looked great, but I still go with Russ. It's not like a no-brainer like it should be, but yeah, we'll both go Russ. All right, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
All right, just dropping some knowledge there. Thank you.
Wow,
Appreciate
thank you, Joe.
And it's true. He was with us last week on the Patreon morning show Sunday morning. Guys, get in there. I mean, honestly, we do this, but on a much more personal level because there's a much smaller crowd and we get to talk about everything related to your team. So there you go.
And we're getting updated news is coming in. So we're getting like the inactives and things, and we're able to say, okay, this guy's out, this guy's in. So yeah, definitely worth it. Plus you get all sorts of cool stuff during the week too, like our rankings, our waiver wire, our sleepers video, probably stuff I'm forgetting. Check it out.
There you go. All right. Let's keep going here. Matthew Fracassini is asking, he's saying benched Elijah Moore for Drake.
I'm going to assume Drake London. I hope.
I hope Drake London, not Kenyon Drake. Okay. Let's assume
Kenyon Drake's got to prove something too, right? Like Kenyon Drake hasn't really proved anything.
Yeah, he's proved that he isn't, there's a reason he was released by the Raiders. Okay. So Pollard or Dillon, I think is the question.
I still got to go Dillon. I know Pollard had like that big run, right? He had like that big run last week, got stuffed at the one, and then the Cowboys graciously gave him the touchdown instead of giving it to Zeke, which I thought was actually very nice of them because really he deserved it. But really, like outside of that, he's not, like 9 carries. I mean, he did have 7 targets last week, but how many did he catch? And I don't know. The usage just isn't there. So I'm going to go Dillon.
Well, and here's what I'm thinking. I mean, would you go because he's basically saying I'm not starting Elijah Moore. Would you put Elijah Moore over either of those two guys?
I mean, I would, but I get the gamble. Like I get the gamble is like, okay, it's like Garrett, like the gamble is Garrett Wilson is like this year's Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or something, right? He's just like this rookie, awesome stud wide receiver, and he just is the target hog there. So I get the risk, but I still really like Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is awesome. It's got to happen at some point, hopefully. I would probably play Elijah Moore over Dylan's because that matchup is so tough.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Pollard, you don't know what you're getting. With Dylan, not a great matchup. I would probably go with Elijah Moore, assuming this is full PPR, right?
Yeah.
If it's standard, I'll go Dylan. But if it's full PPR, I actually would go Elijah Moore also. So try that out. Austin Bryan. Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley.
All right,
there's back. Look, I mean, I get it because he gets targets, but look, he's been with a team like 3 days.
There's desperate, there's like really desperate, and then there's like Cole Beasley desperate. He's been with a team like a few. There's no way Cole Beasley is going to be out there for a significant number of snaps. He can't know the playbook. He can't know everything. He has no connection in this offense. Yeah, he might catch a few passes because it's like they don't have anybody else. But I'll tell you what, I love Treylon Burks this week. Not going to be able to run the ball. Sorry, Pierre. I know you like Derrick Henry, but they're not going to be able to run the ball. They just lost Luan for the entire season. That offensive line that was already really bad just got way worse. They're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be playing from behind. I talked about Chris Olave's progression. That's the right word. From week 1 to week 2. Treylon Burks' progression has also been very, very encouraging weeks 1 to week 2, and I think it gets better here in week 3. No Kyle Phillips. I go with Treylon Burks.
Yeah, I'm a Treylon Burks stan, have been since before and after the draft, so I'm all on Burks. Like you said, Phillips is not going to play. I think that Tennessee, I talked about these teams that are going to bounce back after looking really bad the first 2 weeks. Of course, Tennessee got completely embarrassed by Buffalo. I think Tennessee bounces back. I think they're at home this week. I think they win. I think Burks has a nice game. Zay Jones, man, that's way too risky against the Chargers. Yeah. And no to Cole Beasley.
Especially against the Chargers.
JK, maybe Dobbins. Pick 2, full PPR. Kamara, Henderson, Hall, CEH, or ATN. We're probably going to scratch ATN off because we're just saying no to him this week.
Yeah, and Henderson, I'm going to scratch him off.
And Henderson, not compared to those guys.
This is something I didn't think I'd say this year, but I think out of that group, I feel the best about CEH this week. That Colts defense without Leonard is terrible right now. It's really bad. So I think he has a great game. And then out of that group, I'm going to go Kamara. So I'm going to go CEH and Kamara.
I think if Kamara plays, which it looks like he is, you play Kamara. I definitely did not think I would say this. I'm not a CEH fan. I go CEH because he's looking pretty good, even though he doesn't get the volume. His volume is not going to be less than Breece Hall, and it's definitely a good matchup. So go with CEH and Kamara.
Yep.
If Kamara doesn't play, has a setback or whatever, then who's your backup there? Is it Hall?
Yeah, then it would be Hall.
All right, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, Tim is asking Chargers or Eagles?
This is tough, actually. On the one side, my problem with the Eagles, so you got Carson Wentz, who's thrown, 4 interceptions this year, I think, or 3 or 4 interceptions, and he's been sacked like 6 times, and I think he's fumbled the ball. Like he still runs straight into sacks, and he still turns the ball over like it doesn't matter. But he's also putting up like points, right? He's also putting up points. And the problem with this Eagles defense is the secondary is great and the run defense is great, but they don't really get a lot of pressure. They're not a team that like gets a ton of pressure. So maybe maybe they don't get those sacks against Wentz this year and they don't really force those turnovers. The Chargers can get pressure, but on the other hand, Trevor Lawrence has been pretty good with the ball. He hasn't really been turning it over much. They're protecting the ball, doesn't really take a lot of chances. So I think I go slightly Chargers, but this is pretty close for me. I don't really love either of these defenses this week.
Well, I'm agreeing in a very different way. I actually love both these defenses this week.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if I remember, you guys, if you're a patron, you can go check the rankings on the page. I think I have the Chargers as my number 1 defense. I might have them as my number 1 defense because, look, Jacksonville definitely looked better. They're going to let down. Trevor Lawrence is also still, even though he's done much better this year, he will still take sacks and, make turnovers. The Chargers defense is just a lot better this year.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your Justin Herbert at full strength, Keenan Allen, who knows? This could be a very low-scoring game. I really like the Chargers defense. I do like the Eagles defense. And like you said, Carson Wentz, 3 interceptions and 6 sacks so far in 2 games. So despite all that, he definitely can, give up those plays.
Yeah, no.
But look, I would say this too. It always depends. When people ask about defense, it always depends on your scoring system because there is no universal system for defensive scoring. If they weigh really heavily on points allowed, it's definitely the Chargers because I don't see the Jags putting up a ton of points. Right? Washington could put up points on Philly. But if it's almost exclusively like points don't even matter, it's about like turnovers and sacks, then maybe you could lean Eagles. All right, now David is asking, okay, well, so we got Adams, Hill, Deontay Johnson, Garrett Wilson. Tempted to play Wilson over Hill? No.
Especially now.
You may not know this, but Tyreek Hill currently leads the NFL in receiving yards, and I get that was that one game, but he was pretty good in week 1 too.
Yeah, and this Buffalo, look, the Buffalo secondary is not like the Titans secondary now or the Seahawks secondary now. It's still good. They still have good players. But they have taken some big hits in that secondary. It's not the secondary we saw in weeks 1 and most of week 2. It's taken a hit, and you can't bench Tyreek Hill. You just can't. And you already played Deontay, and you're not benching Adams. I assume you already played Deontay. So yeah, no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Look, no defenses. I mean, they look dominant, but who did they play? They play Tennessee. With Tennessee's passing game.
Oh, I mean, they did play the Rams.
Huh? And
they did play the Rams week 1. No, they're also like missing like a lot of key pieces on that defense this week. Not just in the secondary, at the defensive line, at the linebacker. Like they're missing on every level. So I think I actually like early in the week I was like, this week's gonna be the test. Are these Tua and these guys for real? And now I'm like, okay, they're gonna have a good game this week, so this isn't really the test. They're gonna have a good game because this defense it's still a good defense, but it's not like an elite like what we saw weeks 1 and 2, which is like don't even like just run away from this defense. It's not there right now.
Yeah, and look, Hill obviously not gonna do what he did last week, but he is fine, and he can always. You don't look if you guys watch, which I hope you do, our wide receiver start sit video, just like a running back start sit and quarterback tight end start sit. At the very beginning, before we go through every single game and all the players that matter, we say these are the guys you cannot sit. You must start. Tyreek Hill is on the list, and I'm pretty sure we're never going to take him off, especially after last week. You don't even care about the matchup. You don't think about it. I get Buffalo's tough. You don't sit Tyreek Hill because any moment he can take it to the house. And I get Garrett Wilson has looked amazing. It doesn't mean that he's for sure going to do that this week either, right? So, yeah, I mean, I get that it's tempting, but don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, Ruffy v. Co. Keenan, Samuel, or Metcalf?
All right, so we kind of had this similar question in the beginning, but now with these exact players. But I'm gonna go. I think it was Olave, but I'm gonna go with Samuel for the same reason. Like I'm not gonna wait around to hear Keenan's gonna be limited by his hamstring. We've heard that before, and then he like barely plays, or Herbert's out now. He has Chase Daniel. Samuel in a great spot this week, whether it's Curtis or Debo, it doesn't matter, but I'm assuming Curtis. I'm just going to roll with Curtis and not worry about it.
Yeah, look, this is your wide receiver too, and it's got to be Curtis, not Debo Samuel. Debo's another must start. Look, Curtis Samuel, good spot. Keenan, just don't risk it. When you have better options, like if it was just Keenan or Metcalf, yeah, that's a tough call. But Samuel, just set Samuel and don't worry about it.
Exactly.
All right, so JP, Bateman, Dylan, Thielen, or Samuel. Pick 2.
Okay, I will say, I'm going to pick Bateman and Samuel, but I will say Thielen has some sneaky appeal this week because this is a good spot for Thielen. I mean, Jefferson's probably going to go crazy this week like he did in week 1, but I think this could be a week where Thielen finally catches a touchdown. But I still got to play Bateman and Samuel over him.
Yeah, Bateman and Samuel. Like you said, Thielen is tempting, but we're pretty sure Samuel gets more touches. That's just the way it's been going. So we're in agreement there. Joseph now asking, would you drop Everett for Hawkinson?
I don't think I do. I really don't. Like, I don't think Hawkinson's maybe he's not a downgrade over Everett, but I don't think he's an upgrade over Everett. Yeah, I don't think I do.
Like I said this, I think on the tight end start to sit, Hawkinson is looking more and more just a guy. Hawkinson and Fant, right? The dynamic duo, those guys from Iowa, and they're looking like guys who are always going to be better on paper than in real life. They got the athleticism, they should be studs, and they just not happening. And this isn't year 1, year 2, year 3. Like, we've had a big enough sample size, and it's not like he's injured. He's not injured. We can't blame injuries this year. He's just okay. Like I get people are dropping Hawkinson, and like I get it. If there's a better option, why not? So even though Everett's not great this week necessarily, you don't have to run out to add Hawkinson. The only thing is Hawkinson, at least if he's healthy, he's out there, he'll get some targets. He's not complete boomer bust. But MK, are we gonna flex Elijah Moore, Etienne, Singletary, Akers, or Burks?
I got to go Elijah Moore here. I know, like, Etienne, Singletary, Akers, I can easily fade those guys. Like, last week should have been the week for Singletary, right? He should have been getting all the work down the stretch, running out the clock, and he wasn't even out there. So, I do like Burks, but he's still only playing, like, what? I think he played, like, 50% of the snaps last week. It's not like he's out there every snap. I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
Yeah, if Elijah Moore here, it's either Moore or Burks. Like, there's no reason to get excited about any of those running backs. So Moore or Burks in full PPR for sure. I think Elijah Moore does, show up more this week. It's not like he's been completely invisible. It's just Garrett Wilson has really overshadowed him. And Burks is a solid play, like you said. But yeah, to me, it's Moore this week. All right, Joshua is asking Dylan or Thielen, and this says for standard.
Which is actually a fair question because Thielen kind of is a guy you only want really in standard scoring leagues these days because he's not a 7+ catch guy anymore. He's a touchdown dependent kind of wide receiver at this point. I think I got to go. I do think there's a chance Thielen scores this week, but outside of that, what is he going to get you? Like 50 yards maybe? Dylan can always score. I think I got to lean Dylan. Even though Thielen does have that great matchup. But I think it's going to be like week 1 where Justin Jefferson is just running wild all over the field and no one can stop him.
Yeah, look, in standard, typically you're going to chase touchdown upside more so than anything, right?
Yeah. So
Dylan's a little safer, I guess. But give me the upside then in that case for Thielen because he could have a big game. So it's kind of close, but again, if this is your flex, why not go for the Thielen shot and hope he gets in the end zone because he could have a big game here. Okay, see, make sure we don't miss anything here. MK again, one flex for PPR. We got Jeff Wilson, Garrett Wilson, Mooney. Haven't heard from him, Brees, and Dotson. I thought everybody dropped Mooney.
Yeah, I can definitely go Garrett Wilson here. Like I'm not putting Mooney in my lineup until I see something. Like I need to see at least something before I trust him. Brees, we already talked about a bunch. Dotson, talked about might not have a lot of opportunity. Jeff Wilson is just so like, I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, it's gotta be Garrett Wilson. Like you said, Mooney, maybe this is the week, but let's see it first. Dotson could be down. We're down on him. Jeff Wilson is, especially in PPR. Jeff Wilson's not catching a bunch of passes. Garrett Wilson. Definitely Garrett Wilson. All right, Dominic is asking, full PPR. We got Chark, Gallup, say no to Gallup, Elijah Moore, or Aguilar. And look, we were just finished talking about Elijah Moore quite a bit. No, definitely not crazy holding out hope. It's only been 2 games, and he hasn't been that bad. It's not like he's playing bad. It's just Garrett Wilson's getting targets. But do you like any of those other guys better?
No, and just real quick, because I did post this in the Discord, to go into your point about it's only been 2 weeks. Let me see if I can look here. So last year after week 2, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Sterling Shepard, DeAndre Hopkins, and Brandon Cooks were all top 12 wide receivers after 2 weeks. Like some of those guys weren't even like you didn't want to play them towards like it's only been 2 weeks. We can't overreact already, but I will say I think Aguilar is a sneaky start this week against Baltimore. He's got some big play upside, but I'm not starting any of those guys over Elijah Moore. So
Aguilar is like and Chark. They're both like possible flexes in deep leagues, but preferably if you have like a 2-flex lineup.
Yeah,
not as your only flex. Elijah Moore, don't feel like that's crazy at all. We're both still big on Elijah Moore, so go Elijah Moore. It's smart to hold Gallup, but don't play him this week. Jacob Brady's asking Allen Robinson or Waller with no tight end. That's the way we like him. All right.
Yeah.
Standard though. Standard.
Oh, okay, so this is gonna actually be close for me because I think both these games are gonna be high scoring. Waller without Renfro is much more interesting now. Much more interesting now. Although I could see it being a game where Adams just runs wild because the Titans don't have anybody that can cover Adams. Like no chance. No chance. This could be a repeat of week 1 where Adams and Jefferson just run wild all game because no one can cover them. But Robinson's got a great chance to score here, and this is standard scoring. So again, you're chasing that touchdown upside, and Robinson's got a great chance to score again in this matchup. That's another game that's going to be high scoring. I think I'm going to lean slightly towards Robinson, but I feel like it's closer than it should be for standard scoring.
To me, this is really, really close. I kind of like both guys, and it's funny because if you guys were with us, I think the very first question we answered about an hour and a half ago was, who do you like, pick some players who you think could score a touchdown this week? And one of the guys I mentioned, I think the first guy I mentioned was Darren Waller. But we both like Allen Robinson too. So I'm going to go with the guy who I kind of feel better about his target share, which maybe I shouldn't, but that's Allen Robinson. I think Stafford has a good game. I think Robinson's still in the mix. We saw him score last week. So if I had to pick, I'll go Robinson, but I think you're good either way, honestly.
Yeah.
And Ruffy with another question. Garrett Wilson or Michael Carter? I think it's got to be Wilson.
Yeah, it's got to be Wilson.
Full PPR especially.
Yeah.
Definitely go Wilson. MK is asking for one flex. So J-Rob, Lockett, Jeff Wilson, Ingram, Dotson, Olave, Dobbins, or Mooney. We got a lot of choices here.
Well, really, to me, it's only 2 choices. Either J-Rob or Olave. Like the rest of those guys I can easily bench. Olave's riskier. J-Rob's safer. So that's what I'm going to say. Like, if you're shooting for upside, I think I go Olave. Because he had, like I said, he's running the vertical routes. He can hit on a big play. But there's also more risk there. If you need a higher floor and a little bit safer, I go J-Rob.
Well, I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to ask. Okay, so first of all, like absolutely no Dobbins, no to Mooney. No. Ingram, no, especially because Kamara's probably going to play. Wilson, not in PPR, not over those guys. Dotson, we're down on. So Olave, to me, actually might be third of this group. So let me ask you, no interest in Tyler Lockett. I know we hate Seattle's offense, but look, they're playing Atlanta. He just had a 100-yard game. It's full PPR. You don't think Lockett could, outscore Olave?
I mean, he could outscore Olave because he gets like 6 catches for 60, 70 yards and gets 12 or 13 points. And Olave only gets like 2 catches for 50 yards and only gets 7 points. But to me, it's like, whatever. Like I'd rather just play J-Rob over Lockett. Like I don't think I'm not going to go off of what Lockett did last week, where he had like 9 catches for 100. Like Lockett does this every year, right? He has like 2 or 3 games where he just has these monster games, and everybody's like, okay, remember Tyler Lockett, like I said, was the wide receiver 2 after 2 weeks last year because he had a huge week 2, and everybody. I even remember people saying that's why Lockett was a better value in drafts than Metcalf this year. Told you. Like everybody was right after 2 weeks. Like everybody's always right after every week. Everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. Everybody's right. And then what did he do? Not a whole lot. So no, if I'm going to go for the higher floor guy, I guess I'm going to go for J-Rob. And if I'm going to go for the ceiling, I'm going to go for Olave because he doesn't need 8 or 9 catches. He can do it in a few catches and score. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, Olave, he got like 13 targets or something crazy last week. So Yeah, I always feel like I'm too low, like a dog Lockett. And he has those big games. I always miss on him, but then he has a lot that he doesn't. So
Then you start him the next week and he gets like 5 points.
right, yeah. All right, so we'll go J-Rob. And I feel like Lockett's one of those guys who always does it when you don't expect him, and then when you do.
Yes.
So, all right, Robinson it is. Donnie Stanley wants to know M. Brown. Oh, good to see Malcolm Brown still back in the mix for fantasy. Wait, never mind. I'm guessing this is Marquise Brown.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, I don't think that's Malcolm Brown.
All right. Week 2 Warrior. Marquise Brown or Terry McLaurin?
I'm going to go Marquise Brown again. That Cardinals defense I know it's hasn't been a terrible start for him, right? It's not like he's busted, but he just hasn't had that upside we were hoping for. But man, they've got to be able to just put up tons of points against us. And I think this could be a game where both teams score and the Rams can't take their foot off the gas. So I got to go Marquise.
Marquise got a lot of targets, tied with Ertz for the team lead, 11 targets. He hasn't put up huge numbers. He's still the number one guy there. McLaurin could have trouble. So, yeah, it's definitely Hollywood for both of us. Trench Road. Al Lazard, Greg Dortch, Russell Gage. These are the questions we love. All right, you're getting deep here. You want to know who's going to give you that edge. Just talked about Arizona's offense. How do you feel about Dortch versus these guys?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start with Gage and say I'm pretty nervous about Gage. He didn't practice yesterday, so he practiced like Wednesday and Thursday limited, and then didn't practice Friday, and now he's like, they're saying he's questionable but likely to play. But that makes me worried. Like, is he really even close to 100%, or is he still dealing with that soft tissue injury? And even last week, he had like 5 catches for 28 yards. Like, he's catching like 3 yards a catch, like 4 yards a catch. Like, what is this? So I'm gonna cross him off pretty easy. Alan Lazard can always score a touchdown. We know that. I think you talked about it. You think he's going to go like, 700 yards, 10 touchdowns this year? Something like that.
Pretty much.
Dortch is fine. I think I'm going to go Dortch out of this group. At least he's involved. And again, I think it's going to be a game. Rams down a bunch of DBs right now. They're down a bunch of DBs. And Jalen Ramsey isn't the shutdown guy he used to be. And not that he's going to like shadow Greg Dortch or anything, but I'm going to go Dortch.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever going to shadow Dortch. Look, he was fine last week, right? He got 4 catches, 55 yards, a touchdown. Had a good target share the week before. I think in week 1, he actually led the team in receiving. I mean, it's PPR, so that's the thing. Dortch at least gives you that floor. Lazard, like, he'll score a touchdown, 2 catches for 16 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. That's it. And that's if he gets a touchdown. So this should be Russell Gage, but like you said, I mean, with no Evans, with no Godwin, with no Julio, this should be a Russell Gage game. Yeah. You just got to worry that he's just not good. We both have Brady as a bust. So if I could trust Gage, I would say him, but Dortch is kind of like the less exciting version of Gage. He's just the safest out of these, and he probably will score the most, I would say. So I go Dortch also. I want it to be Gage, but yeah, like you said, I just don't think he's healthy. All right, yeah. Stephen Drake's asking flex Ayuk, Gallup, or like Elijah Moore. This is pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm going Elijah Moore. The Gallup, again, you got to worry about a snap count if he even plays. Ayuk in a tough matchup with Jimmy G. I'll gamble on Elijah Moore, which sounds weird to say I'll gamble on Elijah Moore, but
I know. Look, everyone's panicking. I get it, but Elijah Moore's still going to be fine. They're still going to throw the ball a ton. Gallup, you can't play him this week, and Ayuk, I got him down as a bust, so it's Elijah Moore. Vince Dallas is asking, in full PPR, Lamb, Bateman, Olave, or Wilson? Us? That might be tough.
This is tough, actually.
Which is crazy. You'd think CeeDee Lamb would be a no-brainer. Clearly, he's not this year. But he does get a good matchup.
I still got to go the first 2.
Yeah.
He's gotten 11 targets each of the first 2 games. Like, it's going to happen. I mean, I like Olave and Wilson, but they're risky for sure. So I'm going to go Lamb and Bateman.
I am too, because Lamb, I remember, gets the Giants. That's a pretty good matchup. But also, if Dalton Schultz doesn't play, this is better for CeeDee Lamb. So stick with Lamb, and then Bateman. not taking him out of my lineup ever again. No, but Bateman is fine. Bateman is a good start. Garrett Wilson's, I know it's tempting. It's so hard not to start him, but this could be the week where Elijah Moore gets a little bit more involved. So go with the first two. All right, Rico Hendricks. More CeeDee Lamb. All right, so now we're going CeeDee, Sutton, or Kirk. You're only picking one of those. That is tough too.
That is tough. I don't really like Kirk's spot this week. I know he's had a great start to the season. I don't like that spot for Kirk. I mean, Sutton in a somewhat tough matchup. Again, I still am a little skeptical of this Niners passing defense. But I think I still got to go CeeDee. I think I still got to go CeeDee here. I can't. I got to go CeeDee.
Yeah, I've said I'm not. I mean, you think Kirk by this point now is like, okay, you got to start him. But look, you're looking at your wide receiver 2, not 3. So in this case, I do fade Kirk because I don't love that matchup. Sutton should be a guy that you start every week, but I just mentioned why I like CeeDee. So I do go CeeDee based on the matchup and all those circumstances. So
pretty crazy. You got those guys like who's. I mean, you must have gone like Jefferson or Chase, and then CeeDee, and you had to go on 0 RB. I'm guessing,
or maybe it's an 18 league. It's possible.
True.
All right. Still getting through the super chats. We're catching up, but we're not there. I do have to throw this on there just because I thought it was funny. Dylan saying, guess who picked Brandon Cooks right before the sun god? Look, you're not the only one. We'll take plenty of L's as it goes on, right?
Remember, I'm going to read it again. Tyler Lockett, wide receiver 2. Adam Thielen, wide receiver 4. Amari Cooper, wide receiver 5. Sterling Shepard, wide receiver 9. Like, yes, you can victory lap so far, but it's week 2, not week 17. Let's see how the chips fall in the end.
Right. All right, Humberto with another question on the Wentz and Samuel trade. Remember we talked about this earlier. So he's saying, wow, he lost Dak and Lance.
Jeez.
So you do that trade, right? I mean, we said yes anyways.
Yeah, I think Wentz is a fine streaming option this week. I think you can start him, take that trade, play Wentz this week, and then you just stream from here on out. Yeah.
So he's asking, do you know a better pickup at quarterback? I mean, without knowing who's on your waiver wire. I mean, look, I know in one league where I had Lance and only Lance because he was my only quarterback, I paid up for Tua, not just because I'm a Dolphins fan, but he was the best guy on the waiver wire, and I wanted him. I needed a quarterback because a lot of other teams took a backup quarterback. So I paid up for Tua. If he's available, obviously he's good. Mariota can get you by most weeks, but I wouldn't trust him long term. Like, he's just a streamer. Look, Joe Flacco might put up 300 yards again this week. It would not surprise me. So, but he's maybe going to be benched, in 2 weeks. So,
yeah,
it depends. But look, again, this would be one thing. Humberto, if you're not in the Discord, I don't know if you are, join it, go in that channel, the waiver wire, ask that question, and then you can show us who's available.
Exactly.
All right. So Chris Shannon, thank you, sir, for the super chat. We appreciate it. So he's asking, right now I'm starting Kupp and Garrett Wilson, and then CH and Aaron Jones. Should you flex Thielen, James Robinson, or Dell Henderson, or switch something up?
Again, I'm going to give Robinson the slight edge here. Thielen needs a touchdown, and this could be the week where he scores because it's a great matchup. But I worry that it's another week 1 where Justin Jefferson gets, half the targets and is just running wild all over the field because nobody can cover Justin Jefferson. And Thielen is just out there like, hey, I'm over here. And Kirk's like, I don't care. Justin Jefferson's wide open over there. Why would I throw it to you? That's my worry with Thielen. Robinson, we know, is going to get the work. Chargers run defense, great pass defense, average run defense. I'm going to go Robinson in my flex.
Yeah, I wouldn't switch anything up with your starters. I think you're fine. Yeah. I think James Robinson, maybe there's some weeks you would swap him out. Probably not with anybody else, but I would just flex him. Henderson is on your bench. Thielen, probably only if you need to. I don't think I would put Thielen over Garrett Wilson. Not this week.
Me neither.
As long as Flacco's in there, he's going to be slinging it, right? You know he's just going to sling it, so keep Garrett Wilson over Thielen. So, yeah, flex James Robinson. All right. Axe Attack. Marquise Brown.
Interesting name.
Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis, Devontae Smith, Curtis Samuel, pick 2. Got some good options there. I mean, I want to say Gabe, but then, are we getting 100% Gabe? And then do you take him over those other guys? I'll see what you say first. But
okay. You're going to make me answer first. I'm going to say Marquise and Gabe. But it's close. It's close between Gabe and Devonta Smith. And look, I really like Curtis Samuel this week, but Curtis Samuel, there's a chance where he's not that guy that we think he is this week. I like him, but there's also the risk is there. Whereas these guys, we know kind of what we're getting from them. My worry with Smith is this just another AJ Brown week? Because nobody can cover AJ Brown, and he's just getting targeted to death, and Smith maybe has a good game, but not a great game, because it is still a terrible defense. Whereas Brown, I'm expecting a big game from Brown this week, and Davis always, especially in this matchup, has that home run potential, but for me, it's Marquise and then close between Gabe and Smith.
Look, this is tough, and look, so let me say I'm sticking with Marquise Brown. He's the number 1 guy there. They're going to give him a lot of targets. Rams secondary is banged up. I do think he's a solid start. I'm also going to go with Devontae Smith because I do think this is definitely an AJ Brown week. I think it's also Devontae Smith week. I think this is Jalen Hurts goes nuts week. So I like Devontae. Look, he looked good. He got involved last week. There's room for both these guys to eat for sure this week. Sure. Gabe Davis, I would really be tempted if I thought he was for sure 100%. We saw him kind of pull up right in that video from Friday's practice. Yeah. I don't know that he's 100%, and he's kind of, I'll say boom bust, right? Because then he's going to get attacked here. But he's not guaranteed to get that target share like Devontae Smith is probably going to get. And in Curtis Samuel, look, he's very solid. If you want to put him in instead of Devontae because you feel better about him, I get that. I like Devontae Smith a little bit better this week. So I go Brown and Smith, and you said Brown and Davis, right?
Well, I mean, I could definitely go with Smith if you're worried about Davis not being 100%. I think Smith's still going to have, at worst, a good game, if not a great game.
Right. Okay. Trigger, I see you. We're going to get to your comment in a second. Let's answer some of these questions first. MT for Gabe Davis, or what other solid wide receiver can get in return? So you're trying to flip MT. Don't blame me for that. Would you take Gabe Davis straight up?
I would. I would. I mean, yeah.
I would.
Give me the guy, big play, big touchdown guy, attached to Josh Allen. Yeah, I would take that.
This is the perfect time to do that because Thomas just coming off of 2 solid games. He's getting in the end zone. Gabe Davis just missed, and people are worried about him, like I just said. But he'll be fine down the stretch. I would definitely take Gabe Davis for Thomas. So if somebody's willing to do that, which I'm assuming they are, which is why you threw that out there, yeah, take that. All right, and then Johnny, once again, start Kirk over Jefferson, Amon-Ra, or Kupp.
No way.
No.
I mean, Jefferson, Kupp, you're never sitting those guys unless they're not playing. And then,
Ever.
I mean, I know Kirk's been awesome, but so is Amon-Ra. I think you got to start Amon-Ra over Kirk.
This week, Amon-Ra's great matchup. You definitely don't want to sit him. If ever there's a time you do sit him, it's not this week. All right, so here we go. Are you ready for this?
Probably not.
We talked about the Trey Lance thing. Trigger, that's his thing. We don't know what Trey Lance did to his family or
his dog or something.
On him, but here we go. He says that weeks ago you defended him in Discord. Mama Bear defending her cup.
Look, I did that with Jalen Hurts last year. I'm pretty sure I did that with Saquon last year. I think I'm doing that with Najee right now. I don't think I ever did that with Trey Lance. Like Trey Lance was the guy where I was like, yeah, you get him as the QB 10 and he's got tons of upside. And I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to agree, but I will say I have been saying I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a lot better than people think this year. And so far, so good. I don't know if he'll blow up though, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know about blow up. I don't know if that offensive line is good enough for that. Look, here's the thing. I was probably, I know it was too high on Trevor Lawrence last year, and it wasn't him necessarily. Look, he's a rookie. It was just, yeah. Look, I knew Urban Meyer was bad. I didn't imagine. Nobody imagined the depths of what would go on. But anyways, Trevor Lawrence. Okay, so I know this is like the setup, right? He's just throwing that out. He's like planting the seed. There's going to be something next week, and then there's going to be a side bet or something. So we'll see.
Well, at least we can't side bet Trey Lance anymore because the poor guy is out for the season with a brutal injury.
No victory laps for injuries. No preying on downfalls, like Money would say. All right. So speaking of the 49ers, Tyler wants to know how Kittle is going to do first week, but it's against Denver. I mean, he's a must start, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, he's you got to start him. I think he'll be fine. He's better than any tight end on your waiver for sure. So yeah, how's he gonna do? Probably fine. He's got Jimmy G though. I think that helps. We know Jimmy G will target him, so you don't have to. That was one of the things, right? Going into the season was like, ooh, Trey Lance more of a deep ball guy. Will he throw to George Kittle enough? Well, now you don't have to worry about that because Jimmy G is the quarterback. So.
And that's also part of the reason why I'm down on IU. Kittle back, that's going to eat up some targets for sure. Yeah. I don't have Kittle as a top 5 tight end, but, it's not a great matchup. He's top 10. He's a must start. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Grade A screw up. Okay.
All right.
Hopefully that doesn't apply to your fantasy team. Well, that's not a bad choice here. You got Brandon Cooks or Allen Robinson.
Well, I have been all over Brandon Cooks, and then you just gave out that stat about the corner who hasn't been thrown at.
Now, again, it's not necessarily a shadow situation. Yeah. Cooks is a guy who could always go off, but, I mean, based on the defense, I love Robinson this week, so I'm going Robinson.
My only worry with Robinson, I mean, we loved the defense last week, and he got 5 targets. Like, thankfully he scored, or we would be freaking out about Allen Robinson right now, right? We'd be freaking out because he would have, 4 catches for whatever he got last week. Cooks just, we know, like you just know Cooks is getting 10 plus targets. Like it's just almost every week he's getting 10 plus targets. So this is actually close for me. I'm gonna go Cooks. I don't know. I feel like Cooks. I feel like this is a big Cooks week.
All right, so there you have it. Cooks, Robinson, whoever you trust more. Look, at least Cooks is the number 1 guy. Robinson's the number 2 guy. I mean. Robinson's not guaranteed.
Might even be the number 3 guy with Tyler Higbee. Hopefully that changes, but
no kidding. As Rams are now becoming one of the more frustrating offenses for fantasy, at least. All right, let's go to this question: Thielen or Hall, half PPR?
I think you got to go Thielen again. It's a great matchup. I think he has a chance to score this week. I like Breece Hall, but not quite yet.
Yeah, it's still too early to trust Hall over a proven guy, and it's not full PPR, but still half PPR. That kind of gives the edge. Thielen to the receiver. Thielen's got a great matchup, so I'm going to agree and go with Thielen. Devin Collier, thank you for the super chat. We definitely appreciate it. It is a 10-man team. All right, so Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, CeeDee Lamb, Gabe Davis, Darren Waller, and then Kirk. On the bench, he's got J.K. Dobbins, Dylan, Thielen, Ramondre, and Garrett Wilson. So he's not asking to start sit. He's asking to rate my team.
I'm going to say an 8 because I don't like your running backs. And I don't think you're going to like your running backs you're going to like them less and less as the season goes on is my feeling. I like your wide receivers. Of course, your quarterback's awesome. Darren Waller's fine. Kirk. I mean, you got great wide receivers. Maybe Dylan. Maybe I could see Dylan becoming your every week RB2 at some point. I'm going to say 8. I just feel like in a 10-team league, man, if you don't have like a true stud running back or a true stud wide receiver, like a Jefferson, a Kupp, a Chase, something like a true week-winning upside type of guy, I just can't give it a huge grade. So I'm going to say 8.
And that's the thing. And I feel like you might have maybe pulled the trigger on Josh Allen too early because then that you sacrifice in other positions. Like you said, in every league, no matter how deep it is, you want that guy, right? That stud, that one who might carry you or be that leader at the position. You don't have that. I mean, your RB1, this is a team that looked a lot better on draft day than it does now. And look, CeeDee Lamb maybe will be fine, but is he like a for sure wide receiver 1? Doesn't look like it. Dalvin Cook, does he look like a for sure RB1? Not so far. You've got a lot of guys who could be that RB2, but you don't really care about your RB2. You want that guy who's going to be that top 5, league winner at RB. So you might want to work the trade market and see if you can trade Dobbins, when he comes back. Trade Cook while he still got some value. Maybe try to get a better guy. And Gabe Davis, I love Gabe Davis, but in a 10-man league, I like him a lot better as my 3rd receiver than my 2nd receiver. Although you could say, well, Kirk's my 2nd receiver, whatever. But
that's what I was going to say. Look, I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a nice game this week against the Lions because he's a running back going against the Lions. And I think Thielen is going to have a nice game. So maybe after this week, try to do a 2-for-1, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and get like a true difference-making running back, depending on, or a true difference-making wide receiver, depending on what happens this week. That would be my record. Because you do, especially in like a 10-team league like this, you need a difference-making stud. You need one of those guys. It's going to be very hard to win without one of those guys.
And the other thing you might want to do is start looking ahead. Look for those guys who might break out later in the year. This is the time to buy low on a Breece Hall, right? This is the time to buy low on somebody who could maybe be that guy. You don't know, but this is the time to do it because, look, J.K. Dobbins, maybe you think he's that guy. We don't. I would take Breece Hall over J.K. Dobbins. Make that trade because, Dobbins is coming back. Everyone's all excited about him. Breece Hall, no one's really excited about because he hasn't done a lot yet. Make that deal now, and you got that upside. Roberto, our guy.
What's up, Roberto?
I see himself. All right, 4 questions.
All right.
Sorry, you only get 1. All right. Let's start with this, Roberto. Number 1, should I play Tua instead of Herbert?
I think you have to. You can't. I think the last I heard is he's going to test it out before the game and make a decision. And unless there's somebody like who plays Monday night? Who's Monday night game? Dallas and the Giants. I mean, not starting either of those QBs. And then I think Sunday night is Packers-Bucks, right? Is that the Sunday night game? Packers-Bucks?
Let me check. I think so.
So you can't obviously not start. Don't start those guys. I think
it's Denver and the Niners.
Okay, well you're not starting Jimmy G and Russell Wilson's not available. I think I just play Tua again. Like that Bills defense is still good, but it's not like it was in Week 1 when they played the Rams, where like you got to run away from it, and you can't take the risk of Herbert not playing.
Yeah, I thought Herbert was going to play, but now we're hearing more and more it's going to test it out. It's a game time thing. That's got to make you nervous because what's even worse is he does play and he just doesn't do much. It's not like they're going to need to pass it 50 times to beat the Jaguars. So like I said, I think this is an Eckler game. So yeah, I go Tua also. Okay, what would be a great trade for Hall, which that's kind of a follow-up on what we just said. I said that's a guy to buy low. Okay, so what do you offer realistically for Hall, right now?
I mean, it's always hard to say, but this is what I would do. I would go look at the team who has Breece Hall. Where are they weak? Hopefully they're weak at wide receiver. That's the hope. And then you go, okay, who's a wide? Maybe you have a decent wide receiver on your bench. Maybe you have like great wide receiver group, but you have a decent wide receiver on your bench who's probably not going to crack your lineup outside of bye weeks. Go try to flip that guy for Breece Hall because I guarantee you Breece Hall is just sitting on somebody's bench right now. They're not relying on Breece Hall right now. So, but the easiest way to make a trade happen is to give the other person what they need. You know what I mean? Like if they're stacked at running back and then you go and you're like, well, I have, Darrell Henderson sitting on my bench. The guy's like, I don't need Darrell Henderson. I am stacked at running back. So go look at that team that has Breece Hall. What do they need? And then fill that need for them and get Breece Hall.
Yep. It always depends. What does that other guy want, right? You don't know. I mean, you just have to feel it out. So if they say, well, I'll trade a running back for a running back, I'm giving up a running back, like who would you trade a running back? Look, I've said this, I'll say it again. This is the time to trade Antonio Gibson. He's actually put up some fantasy points. It's pretty much the same, right? Gibson and Hall. So I would try to trade him. Of course, some people might still think Zeke is the guy. Try to trade Zeke. And maybe
Roberto does not have Zeke, though.
Hey, look, you never know. What about Etienne? Would you trade Etienne to get Breece Hall straight up?
Oh yeah, because I feel much better right now about Breece. I mean, Breece Hall, I already had ahead of. Well, I think I had Etienne a little bit ahead of him down the stretch, but they were very close for me. But I feel much better about Breece Hall taking over that backfield than Etienne without an injury. Like Etienne, it feels like he's going to need a James Robinson injury, sadly.
All right, so now number 3, pick one: MT, Garrett Wilson, Cooks, or Samuel.
Just pick one of those guys. I'm gonna go Cooks again. I like the matchup. I like getting double-digit targets against the Bears. I'm gonna go Cooks.
This is tough. I'm gonna go with Samuel. Those guys are all pretty close. They're pretty close, but I'll go Samuel. And then pick one RB2 flex. So we got CEH, Harris, Carter, Moore, Lamb.
CEH, Moore, and Lamb.
Yeah, I think you do need to start Lamb for sure this week. CEH, kind of like more than usual. I'm tempted by Harris, but look, we don't know. I'm assuming this is PPR. And PPR, you still probably have to go more, right?
Yeah, the thing, I do like Harris this week. I really like the matchup, but he probably needs a touchdown to really have a big game. If he doesn't get that, like you're getting what? 8 points, 9 points, 10 points if he gets 100 yards. So,
yeah, I mean, if this was standard, I would say Harris, but otherwise I'll go more. Assuming it's not.
Yeah, I don't think Roberto plays any standard.
Roberto doesn't roll that way. No,
he doesn't roll.
All right. Brandon, giving us some pounds. Appreciate that. Start 1, wide receiver, 2 flex. We got Lamb, Bateman, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Darrell Henderson, J-Rob Dillon, and Pierce.
I'm going to say Lamb, Bateman, Samuel.
That was quick. All right.
I do like J-Rob this week, but I think at PPR, I'm going to go with those wide receivers.
Yeah. And we've kind of talked about these guys a lot already. So Lamb and Bateman for sure. That third spot, that flex, go Samuel.
Yeah. J-Rob probably a little safer, but
it's close. It's close. PPR, I'll lean Samuel. And then Joseph Gonzalez, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Curtis Samuel, Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk. Got some good receivers.
I think Curtis Samuel has been in like 90% of the questions tonight. There's always like one guy. Like there's always every week there's like one guy that's in like almost every question. It's been Curtis Samuel this week. Okay. I think you got to go Waddle, especially with that secondary not as strong as they were earlier in the year. What are we picking here? 3 wide receivers?
Yeah, just pick 3. Yeah, you have to start Waddle. I mean, come on. Okay, so you're starting Waddle for sure.
I think you still got to go Kirk out of this group, even though it is a tough matchup against the Chargers. He's been so good. I think you got to keep him in your lineup. And it's pretty close for me between the other 3.
I will say I'm worried about Kirk. I don't think he has a big game, but I still think I start him this week.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can. I don't know how you can bench him for these guys.
Right, and I have said I think this is a Pitts get right game, and London is going to be a little bit tougher for him. So I can see benching London with these options. So for me, then the choice is between Samuel and Wilson.
Yeah,
I'm going Samuel.
I'm probably going Samuel too, but I wouldn't argue with somebody who wanted to roll with Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, at this point you can't argue with either. And look, you got both those guys. It tells me you're playing the waiver wire pretty smartly. Unless you happen to draft them both, in which case, good job. All right, Austin Bryan, thank you so much. All right, so we answered question number 1. So now he wants to know Zay Jones, Chris Olave, Josh Palmer, Romeo Doubs, or Beasley? Not Beasley.
Definitely Olave for me. I've talked about him a few times tonight. I just love that upside. Like Dobbs, sure, but I mean, I got to see it first. Palmer's interesting if Keenan sits and Herbert plays, which it seems unlikely that both of those are going to happen. So I'm going to go with Olave.
Yeah, I mean, too many question marks there with Palmer, so I definitely would rather have the upside of Olave. Dobbs, I don't think there's enough upside there, especially because it's not a good matchup. So, yeah, to me, it's definitely Olave. So, hopefully that helps you out. Good luck. All right, let's keep going here. And we have another one from Grade A Screw Up. All right, so he wants us to pick 3 between Henry, Kamara, Monty, Miles Sanders, or James Robinson.
Okay, here we go. I'm almost scared to give this answer. I'm sure people are going to call me idiots and be like, what are you thinking? But I'm going the last 3.
Wow.
Okay, Kamara.
Wow.
Kamara banged up. Not a great matchup for him. Not feeling like he's going to be regular Kamara. Henry has not looked good at all. They have no offensive line. This Raiders team is going to put points up on them. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. I like Montgomery a lot this week. Great matchup, getting all the work. I already talked about Miles Sanders. I love Miles Sanders this week. And I love James Robinson this week. So I'm going those 3. That's who I'm playing.
All right. So, look, I'm not the guy who's going to go by name value or draft value, capital, whatever. But, look, you got to keep Derrick Henry in your lineup. And I get he looked bad. But, again, that was against the Bills, right? That was against the Bills.
What did he do week 1? Like 80 yards on like 25 carry? Like, no pass catching.
Do I feel great that Miles Sanders can get the 80 yards? No, because he's not going to get 25 carries. If Derrick Henry, I think this is a get-right game for Tennessee. Look, Raiders defense, nothing scary. They're going to feed the ball. I've got to keep Henry in there. Look, maybe I'll be wrong on him. Maybe he just busts this year, but I got to keep him in. I think he'll do fine. Kamara, again, I'm not going to sit Kamara for Miles Sanders because Miles Sanders not catching the ball. He's just not. And I know Kamara has every bit the same kind of breakaway ability. So I'll go with the first 3. I'm going Henry, Kamara, and Montgomery.
Well, at least we helped him on one running back.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe split the difference, right? Start like Henry and Sanders, or I don't know. Sorry. All right, V-Law is asking, I have Mike Williams. Should I trade for T. Higgins?
Yes.
I would do that.
I like Mike Williams, but man, T. Higgins, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, T. Higgins should be a pretty much no doubt wide receiver, high-end wide receiver 2 every week. Williams, you get that potential with that volatility as well. So Crack for Commander threw us a super chat here. I don't see a question. I'm going to see if we can find one. If not, then just say thank you. Our boy Stinger. What is up, Stinger? All right, so he's got 2 questions. Ertz or Everett? We kind of answered this already earlier, right?
Yeah, you got to play Ertz this week. Ertz a must this week for sure for me. And I do think Aguilar has sneaky big play upside because it's Baltimore and they give up big plays. But if he doesn't hit on one of those big plays, he's going to give you nothing. So I go Noah Brown.
Yeah, look, Aguilar is not a bad deep league play. But again, I think first 2 weeks, it was like 6 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets.
Yeah.
He did make some great plays last week. Not going to lie. It's a great matchup this week. But Noah Brown also has a pretty good matchup. No Dalton Schultz, potentially. Noah Brown's getting a ton of targets, and he's making some big plays. So I'll go Noah Brown. Yeah, I actually kind of like Noah Brown this week. All right, Thomas is asking Drake London or Dameon Pierce or Breece Hall in the flex, and it's a PPR league.
I got to go Drake London. He looks too good right now. I know we think it's a pitch week, but I think there's enough here against Seattle for Drake London too. So I'm going to go with Drake London.
Yeah, again, still kind of holding out on Breece Hall, kind of waiting to see when he gets that guaranteed volume. And Pierce is tempting, but since it's PPR, I'll go London also. I mean, I could see Pierce having a good game.
Yeah.
Really on the fence about this, but I'll go London, yeah. All right, Toby wants to know,
all right,
Juju, Lazard, Shepard, Julio.
All right. Definitely not Julio. Probably not
Julio's not going to play.
Yeah, I mean, even if he hasn't practiced all week, and if they throw him out, you're really gambling on Julio if you play him. I like Shepard. I see the case. Look, Look, I have Juju. I traded for him in Dynasty. I have him like on a couple season-long teams because I was like taking shots on him. He was relatively cheap in Dynasty. He was like a, I don't know, 6th, 7th round pick or something like that in redraft leagues. I was taking shots on him because it's like, hey, I don't like any of these other receivers other than Sky Moore, and he's probably going to need some time, which he needs some time. But man, like you don't know, like Pierre said earlier, you don't know what you're going to get. Is this going to be a week where he gets 10 targets and catches 7 passes and somehow scores a touchdown, or is it going to be a week like last week where he gets like 3 targets and is invisible? And even still, he's not a guy who's going to catch like a 40-yard touchdown, right? He's not going to rack up huge yardage. He's going to be he's a guy who needs volume and needs a score. And if he doesn't do that, he's not giving you much at all. But so is Shepard. The difference is Shepard, we know, is going to get the volume, right? Because who else do they have? Like they don't have any other wide receivers. Like Kenny Golladay is not. Did he even play last week? He's going to get traded probably. Wan'Dale Robinson's out. Tony is out. Like he's all they have. He's going to get peppered with targets, and it's not. Dallas has a good, but the Dallas corner, I don't think Trayvon Diggs is going to be all over Sterling Shepard in this game. Shepard plays more out of the slot. I like Shepard. That was a long way to say I'm going Shepard, I guess.
I agree. We talked about Shepard earlier. Like Shepard, he's the number one guy for that offense. Juju, maybe, but like you said, he's just so dependent on that target share, and we did hear Eric Bieniemy say Sky Moore going to get more attention because he only saw like 2 snaps last week. Look, maybe that means he only gets 10 snaps this week, but I think they recognize they're going to have to continue to kind of diversify that offense. So, the Colts probably show a little bit of pride in their defense, I would hope. I go Shepard too, actually. Eddie Davis is asking, ride with Aaron, guessing Aaron Rodgers for QB this week. Or, you got some options there. You got Carr, you got Wentz, Winston, Mariota, Ryan, or Goff.
Okay, I will play, but maybe with the exception of Matt Ryan, I will play any of those guys over Aaron Rodgers. Any of them. And my choice this week is Derek Carr. Out of that group, Derek Carr.
Exactly. 100% on board there. Tennessee's defense, obviously not that great. Pass defense. So Carr could put up some really big numbers this week. Even Wentz would be a better option than Rodgers. Rodgers, most weeks, if he's not playing Chicago, he's probably going to be disappointed.
Even still, what did he get? Like 16 points last week in 4-point touchdown league?
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not like he put up big numbers. Aaron Jones put up big numbers. He didn't put up huge numbers. So
yeah, he's just not. He doesn't have Devontae. He doesn't have a guy he can, get him. Yeah, this Packers offense is not. We can't. It's not the same offense we're used to. That's for sure.
This league now is being driven more and more by receivers, more so than the quarterback. If they don't have that elite receiver, then quarterbacks aren't going to be as effective. And I'll tell you, just for perspective here, preseason draft rankings, I had Carr ahead of Aaron Rodgers. I predict more fantasy points for Derek Carr than Aaron Rodgers. So it has nothing to do with the current situation. The fact that all those receivers are hurt for Green Bay just makes it pretty much a no-brainer. You don't want to start him this week. You don't have to. Greatness Pros asking Darrell Henn, Chase Edmonds, or Michael Carter. Full PPR.
Definitely Carter. I think it's another week where unless we think the Bengals are going to be terrible, which I don't. They're going to be behind. They're going to have to throw. We know that means receptions for Michael Carter. I'm going Carter.
Yeah, I can't get too excited about Darrell Henderson because he's splitting time. Chase Edmonds, we don't even know.
Yeah, who knows? Of course, this will probably be the week where Chase Edmonds gets like 20 carries and scores 2 touchdowns. It's like,
and it could. It could, but are you going to guarantee? Are you going to risk your?
No, because then next week everybody's playing Chase Edmonds. Raheem Mostert, he gets like 1 touch. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, Edmonds is just very risky, so I'll pass on that. Mark Cleveland is asking, would you trade A-Rob for Hall?
I would if I had a lot of wide receivers. I think you can. Well, if A-Rob has a big game this week, you could probably get A-Rob. You could probably get Hall maybe plus somebody. But I would do that straight up for the long-term upside if you're good at wide receiver. Like if A-Rob is a guy that's just on your bench because you have 3 other really good wide receivers, then yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing if you're saying you can trade A-Rob for a guy who's really not standing out yet, you're probably not starting him every week. He's probably more like your third receiver, maybe your fourth receiver. I don't know. I would do that. I mean, this is the time to do that because Hall, you can still there's a buy low window there. So, all right. So Burrow or Wentz, and then Pitts or Goddard. Let's do Burrow wins first. Gotta be Burrow.
The first one's easy. Joe Burrow. Like if he can't deliver against the Jets, then it's officially maybe panic time, like freak out time. But it's the Jets. Like he's got to be able to put up huge numbers against the Jets. So that one to me, that's the easy one. You agree?
Oh, definitely. Like Wentz, maybe he does okay, but Burrow, you've got to keep him locked. He's still got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. I mean, that still should be a great offense. Going against the Jets, I'm still keeping Burrow as a top 10 quarterback this week. You got to go with Burrow.
Yeah. Now this one's a little tougher because I really like Goddard this week. I mean, I've already said I like all the Eagles this week because it's Washington and like there's enough here for everybody. So I have Pitts in one league, and I'm thinking like if I had Goddard, would I just go with Goddard? And I think I would. Like I could see Pitts having a bigger week than Goddard, but maybe I just like take my nice game from Goddard and not risk another dud from Pitts. So I think I'm going Goddard just because I really like Goddard a lot this week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, Pitts is a guy like it's interesting that you have both of these guys because these are both tight end ones. So if you drafted them both, I don't know whatever happened, but I do feel like this should be a bounce back for Pitts. I do feel like he's got a great matchup. But Goddard's got probably a better matchup, and he's just solid. You know what you're going to get, which is pretty good from him. So I wouldn't put Pitts in. I would keep Pitts in if like he was my tight end, and I did. Oh, do I stream somebody? Do I pick up Everett or Higbee? No, I'd keep Pitts in. But if you have Goddard, just go with Goddard. All right, Steven Lopez. Here's his team. He's got Herbert, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, Christian Kirk, tight end. You got Ertz, Flex, Hollywood, and that's his bench. Okay, so I mean, really the only question to me here is do you put Kittle instead of Ertz? I'd probably say no.
Yeah, no, I'll go there. I think my other question is do you just put – well, I mean, the problem is – I'm very nervous about Mike Williams if Herbert sits. Like, can Chase Daniel support Mike Williams? I don't feel like he can. Like, I don't feel like he can. Like, I think it's going to be a really bad Mike Williams week if it's Chase Daniel instead of Herbert. Also, I'm going to say I think I would start Wentz. I wouldn't risk it with Herbert. I would just start Wentz. I think he'll be fine. But you can't. There's nobody you can really put in over Mike Williams. Like I don't think I'm going to flex. I don't want to flex Ayuk. I don't want to flex Kittle.
No, like Williams is still a guy who could get some, even with a backup quarterback, especially if Keenan Allen doesn't play. I wouldn't take Williams out for Ayuk or Duvernay. So, and then this week, Kittle just coming back, and Ertz should get a ton of targets. So yeah, the only thing, like you said, what if Herbert doesn't play? Like. What if, okay, but here's my question then, is what if Justin Herbert does play? Do you still just put Wentz in because you don't know how Herbert's going to perform?
Well, that's the thing. See, the Washington plays the early game and the Chargers play the late game. So the problem is you don't play Wentz. If you don't play Wentz and then they're like, okay, he tested it before the game and he's not good to go, what are you going to do? You're going to run out to the waivers and hope there's somebody good there? So I would just play Wentz. I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, unless you hear tonight or early tomorrow morning, like Herbert is 100%, good to go, then you put him in. But for now, probably put Wentz in your quarterback position right now, but keep everything else the same.
Yeah.
All right, Ferda, thank you for the super chat. It starts it. Would you just trade? No, we'll do trade questions. Don't worry. We're good. I get Saquon and Hollywood. The other guy gets Chubb and Michael Thomas.
Oh, yes. Oh, easy.
You love that. You definitely do that.
Look.
I do too.
it's funny to me. And I don't want to go into like a Chubb rant here. I do that trade. I'll just say I'll do that.
Yes, you do. Don't lie. You do.
Okay. Chubb is this close to not scoring it. All Kareem Hunt had to do was Kareem Hunt got 3 straight goal line opportunities. Thankfully for everybody who had Nick Chubb, he didn't score on any of them. And then Chubb finally got a chance on the 4th down and scored. And everybody's like, Nick Chubb, oh my God, 17 fantasy points with a touchdown. Oh my God. Like what? You were this close to getting 10 points from Nick Chubb. Like this close. Saquon over Nick Chubb all day, easy. And Hollywood over Michael Thomas all day, easy. Take that trade.
Definitely take that trade. Now look, I get Nick Chubb. The thing is, he does keep scoring touchdowns. He's always going to have a great chance to score touchdowns, but you take Saquon over him for sure.
Remember, like, look, week 1, Hunt way better than Nick Chubb. What did Hunt get? 2 touchdowns? Chubb got 0. We were this close to Hunt having the touchdown in week 2 and not Chubb. Like, that's the problem with, look, Nick Chubb is a great real-life running back, okay? I've never said anything bad about Nick Chubb, the running back. But the problem in fantasy is he's got Kareem Hunt there. And it was this close to Kareem Hunt having 2 better games than Nick Chubb so far this season. That close. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen again because like they could have taken Kareem Hunt out and put Nick Chubb in and given him the goal line carries, but they didn't. They gave him to Hunt, and then he went 0 for 3, unfortunately, because I needed him in a couple leagues, but whatever. And then Chubb got it on 4th down. But Saquon has no competition. Anyways, take that trade for sure.
Definitely take that trade. Good job. You said love the content. Thank you. We appreciate that. Derek Just, also loyal viewer here. Pick 2, full PPR. Got Gabe, you got Lamb, you got Ayuk, Cooks, Curtis Samuel, Garrett Wilson. Good choices. Which way are you leaning?
I'm going Lamb and Cooks. Again, I think you got to play Lamb. And like I said, Cooks in this matchup, getting 10-plus targets. I can't. I like Samuel. I like Wilson, but I can't say no to Cooks this week.
All right, now here's a wrinkle. He just added this. He said, forgot Hollywood Brown.
Okay, Hollywood Brown and Lamb then. Makes it even easier. Hollywood Brown and Lamb for me.
To me, that makes it easier. I also got Hollywood Brown and Lamb. You got a lot of good options there, but the highest upside is those 2 guys, like for sure.
Yeah.
Gabriel Perry, down on Ayuk. This is true. Mooney or Ayuk, I'm not that. Look, and I was big on Mooney preseason. I cannot start Darnell Mooney. I have a league, honestly. Okay, so there's a league where be proud of me, Chris. I went 0 RB. Darnell Mooney is my 5th receiver. And I'm benching him for who I don't even know who I picked up, Matt Collins or something. I'm benching Darnell Mooney as my 5th receiver. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, we're down on Ayuk, but we're way more down on Mooney. Like, I need to see it from Mooney first. At least Ayuk, we've seen it. So give me Ayuk.
Yeah. All right. Just so you know, because we're now more than 2 hours deep, we still have a lot of super chats to try to get to. Trying to get through all these. I want to kind of skip ahead here.
I don't know. We're like 2 hours and 20 minutes into this thing, and I'm like, man, this is tough. I don't know how people do like those 24-hour marathons or whatever. This is tough.
But we're here for the people. We want to help. We're trying to get to all your questions. This is a good time to stop and say again a couple things. Super chat does mean your question gets answered first. That's just the rules. Also, this is a good time to mention that if you want to be a patron, you would join us tomorrow morning right before kickoff, or actually 2 hours before kickoff. Latest news, more in-depth, smaller group. It's not even that much. You can check it out.
That's like a super chat that you get every week. It's like a guaranteed super chat every week, and you only have to pay for like once a month, right? It's only less than $5. It's not a lot of money at all.
Basically, yeah, exactly. So keep that in mind. We're gonna try to keep going here, get as many as we can. Let's start with this one. JN Cortelu, thank you so much. We appreciate that. So he says it's looking bad for his team. So let's see. Let's see with it. Half PPR. Herbert. Okay, Evans, yeah. MT, Kirk, Robinson, Wilson, Ayuk, Swift, Kamara, Penny, Dobbins, and Everett. I mean, obviously you don't have Evans. If Herbert doesn't play, that hurts, and that hurts at tight end. But what do you think?
It's like, okay, yeah, your team's hurting this week because Evans is suspended. Herbert might not play. But this team to me looks pretty good. Like you got Evans, you got good wide receivers. Swift looks awesome. I think Kamara will be fine. I think Everett's fine as a tight. Like this team to me looks like a contender. Like for sure a contender. It's just week 3, it's going to be a little rough because your wide receiver 1 got suspended. Your QB is dealing with a rib issue. So yeah, but I think this team's a contender. I don't really see anything glaringly bad about this team.
Yeah, look, and that's the thing. This week, especially if Herbert doesn't play, you're probably taking the L, right? Because that means that I don't know who your backup quarterback is, but obviously it's not Justin Herbert, and that means your tight end is probably not going to score, and you don't have Evans, and then Kamara is questionable, and Swift is questionable. But look, you have to think long term, and guys, 1 week does not make or break your season, especially when it's week 3. So don't worry about it. Don't panic. And you're saying, what moves should I make? You don't have to make a move. Is there a guy there that you absolutely should sell high? Like, do you have anybody, Chris, that you've said, oh, sell high, sell now? I mean, Michael Thomas probably, but other than that, I don't think you need to do many big moves, right? Or Dobbins.
Yeah, I mean, MT looks like the obvious one to me, especially if he has if he scores another touchdown this week. And I'm gonna say we'll see what Robinson does this week. But if he has another week like last week, where maybe he only gets like 5 or 6 targets, but he finds the end zone once or twice, probably would say him too, because if it's another week where we know Kupp's going to be the number 1 target there for sure, but if it's another week where Higbee's getting a bunch of targets and Robinson isn't, but he scores a couple touchdowns, he'll probably be on there too. But MT is the one that's screaming to me like sell high.
Yeah, MT. Man, here's what I think is interesting. I was going to say Dobbins. This is the sell high window now, because people keep having high hopes for him. They think this next week he's coming back. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. And next week, if he doesn't play again, then people will start to lose patience. Then people will start to doubt. Or he does play and he gets 10 snaps. Or he doesn't look good. Or he gets re-injured. So this is a time where people are still optimistic about Dobbins until they see the realistic fact that he's not going to be that guy. So I would sell Dobbins now while people think he has value. But that's me. I don't have Dobbins. So yeah, I know you don't either. And I want to get back to this. Now we're rewinding because I think he asked if we got his super chat. I believe we did, but let's answer this again. Thielen or Hall, flex spot, half PPR.
Thielen.
Yeah, we both say Thielen. Look, Hall will be great later, but not yet. So if you're asking for the flex spot, half PPR, we said Thielen. All right, let's get back to where we were. Still doing the super chats. Again, guys, if you want your regular question answered, join the Discord. Maybe you can throw it in there.
Yes.
We got, let's see.
Yeah, that's the other thing, guys. If I get we're all in different places in life. We don't all, financially and things. So if you want the free version, not guaranteed to be by Pierre and I, we are in there as much as we can be, and we're in there a lot. You can always join the Discord. It's completely free. It's a free download on your phone. Very easy to set up, and you can ask it in the Start Sit channel. And either we will get to it, or we have some very knowledgeable people in there who kind of know how we think, and they can help you too.
Very much know how we think. All right. Tyler, back again. He's asking, does Burrow get a win Tua style? So are we predicting a breakout? Well, neither of us had him as a boom this week.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Tua style because I don't think he's going to have to come back from 3 touchdowns down like that. I think it's going to be Tua style in the sense that they're probably going to get the win and roll the Jets, or at least they're going to score a lot of points. Maybe the Jets will do what the Jets have been doing, and that's like come back late and make it a game, make it interesting. But I think Burrow does get his first win. Yes.
Yeah, Burrow is almost a must start this week. I mean, you've got to roll him out there against the Jets. I mean, I don't know that he has a monster game, but you've got to keep Burrow in there. Think he'll be fine. Trigger. Question here. No Trey Lance. I know.
Trey Lance, all right.
All right. But there's 49ers spin to this. All right. He says sit one. Christian Kirk, Darren Waller, or George Kittle.
I'm glad it said sit one. That's easy. I'll easily sit George Kittle this week out of those guys.
Yeah. We both said we liked Waller this week. And Kirk, it's just hard to sit him. Kittle, you really don't know how much he'll be involved. So, yeah, I would sit Kittle as well, especially he's missing his quarterback. What is he going to do? No, hey, you deserve that. Robert Williams, flex with Gabe. Well, he says Gabe Davis hurt, but Gabe Davis is going to play, right?
Yeah, even like at 80-90% Gabe Davis, I'll take that over Ayuk this week.
Yeah, I mean, not like I'm predicting Ayuk to, 0 for 0. I mean, he could still do something, but I like Gabe Davis enough. I would start him over Ayuk this week. And then Joshua is asking in a 10-team league, PPR, got Kupp and Higgins, good. Flex, Michael Williams or Juju.
This should be easy. This should be easy, Mike Williams. This should be like no-brainer, Mike Williams. This whole Herbert situation. And Juju,
I'm still going to go Mike Williams. I think
I'm probably going to go Mike Williams too. I just can't. Yeah. At least he has a chance to score a touchdown and hit a home run. Juju doesn't.
Yeah, get a touchdown. I still have to go with Mike Williams. Okay, and then he's asking for RB. He says, have Kamara, Wilson, Jeff Wilson, Hall. Who as his RB2? I mean, to me, it's got to be Kamara.
Yeah,
right?
Even I'm not high on Kamara, but I'm higher on him than those guys for sure.
And then Russ or Kirk Cousins.
Okay. Now I can make a case for not playing Russ. I know Cousins was awful on Monday night, but that was against the Eagles, and that was one game. I think Cousins has a huge bounce-back game. He should destroy this defense. Jefferson, like I said, is going to run wild. Like Jefferson's going to remember in Madden? Like I remember, or not Madden, like Tecmo Super Bowl. I used to play and I'd run all the way back to the one, run out of bounds. That way I could just go 99-yard touchdown every time. That's going to be like Justin Jefferson this week. He's just going to be running around zigzagging up and down the field, scoring 99-yard touchdowns. So I think I can go Cousins over Wilson.
I go Cousins over Wilson too. I mean, look, Kirk Cousins was just terrible on Monday night. You know why? It's because it was Monday Night Football, and they threw out that he was 2-9 on Monday Night Football for his career going in. We'll make it 2-10. I mean, I guess he's just not a primetime player. Should have known that more going in. The Eagles defense, look, we thought it was going to be good this year, and they kind of fooled us in week 1 by not being good. So Kirk Cousins against Detroit, I definitely go with Kirk Cousins. How could you improve RB? I mean, hold on to Hall.
Yeah.
Maybe take advantage by flipping Wilson now because he's not going to be the guy long term. Would you try to package Kamara and Wilson for somebody?
Yeah, or maybe Wilson and maybe Juju has a decent game this week. Wilson and Juju and get an upgrade at running back.
Yeah. You're not going to find anything in the waiver wire. I'll just tell you right now. So
not right now.
10 teams, maybe in a 10-team league.
It's been a weird start to the year in the sense that, and it's good. It's nice to see, but we haven't had any major injuries. We haven't lost a big running back yet. We haven't lost a big wide receiver. So it's been a little tough on the waiver wire for the first 2 weeks, but it's football. It's going to change.
That's for sure. All right, Derek Just once again. Now his other league, he wants us to pick a flex. AJ Dillon, Lockett, Ayuk, Judy, Dortch. He already had Chubb and Fournette. Yes, you're starting Fournette.
Yeah.
You have Pollard as your other flex. Okay, so let's just pick between Dillon, Lockett, Ayuk, Judy, or Dortch.
If Judy plays, I'm going with him.
Yeah. Yeah, if Judy plays now. What if Judy doesn't play?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask that. This is where it gets tough.
Okay.
I'd probably still have to go Dillon.
Yeah.
Dortch, Dortch, there could be fireworks in that game, but he's not if this is a big Brown Ertz game, he could be the one that doesn't do anything. Ayuk, I'm really down on. Lockett, he already had his big game last week. Don't chase that. Pollard, I think I got to go Dillon if Judy's out.
Yeah, Dortch, I wouldn't put over those guys. He's fine in a deeper league, but no, Ayuk, I'm down on. If Judy's out, it's Dillon or Lockett. I go Dillon. I don't hate him this week. Don't go chasing last week's fantasy points or waterfalls. Fam first.
No one got that joke. That's an old person joke.
Nobody. Half the audience. All right, pick 3: Bateman, McLaurin, Hollywood, Kirk, or Connor.
I think I can easily scratch Connor off that, and given the fact that he's probably going to be facing a lot of Darius Slay, I'm going to scratch McLaurin off. So I'm going to go Bateman, Hollywood, Kirk.
Yeah, definitely Hollywood. Pretty definitely Bateman. I'm not crazy about Kirk, but I'm less crazy about McLaurin, so I'm going to agree. Hollywood, Kirk, and Bateman. Yeah. All right. Keep it going here. V-Law back again. Didn't see my question. I'm pretty sure we did yours. I know.
Yeah, we said definitely. We said definitely take Higgins.
Yeah.
Definitely take Higgins.
Yeah. Mike Williams for Higgins. You want Higgins.
You definitely want Higgins. Yes.
All right. Hopefully you're watching V-Law. We did get to your question, but we appreciate,
Yes, thank you.
Throwing it out there again. Kicking the door, waving the 36. Dylan, Ayuk for Pittman, Etienne.
Yeah.
Which side do you like?
I like the Pittman Etienne side because Pittman by far the best player in this trade. Maybe it never happens for Etienne, but there's still a chance. So he's not a bad guy to have on your bench. Ayuk, Ayuk, I think will be like okay with Jimmy G, but I don't love him. And Dylan could, but he's going to probably need an Aaron Jones injury to really reach his potential. Just Pittman for me, makes it worth it for that side.
Like, even if we just assume, which I don't, I'm not completely giving up. Now, I was not a huge Etienne guy, right? But even if we say, Etienne is just a bust, he's not worried. Like, he does nothing for you. I still take that deal because Pittman is the only guy here who could legit be, you would say a league winner or a guy who's just a stud, right? Yeah. He could be that guy. Ayuk, sometimes you start him, sometimes you won't, right? Exactly. It's boom or bust. And Dylan is solid, but again, that kind of mid to low end RB2, that's not winning your league. He's fine, but I take the Pittman side. Yep. Mike wants to know if we should start. Here's Ayuk again. Pollard, Ayuk, Akers, or Olave?
Definitely Olave for me out of this group. Talked about him. I like what I'm seeing. Not really high on any of those three guys this week.
Yeah, Pollard could be okay, but Olave just has much more upside. When you have guys like this who are all just kind of really risky, picks and aren't guaranteed that volume, go with the upside. Man, Olave's got that upside.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have David Beaton. He wants to know in PPR, pick one. Julio Jones, that's negative. Shep, Juju, Dylan, Pierce, Henderson.
Wow.
This is PPR, right? So
I know.
I feel like, okay, look, obviously not Julio. I feel like we can scratch Henderson off, right?
Yeah, we scratch Henderson and Julio off. I kind of want to say Pierce. Like, I do like Shepard, but Shepard to me is like a high floor guy. He's not a huge ceiling guy. He's like I said, 6-7 catch, 50-60 yards. Like at the end of the week, you're like, okay, cool. I started him. He got me like his 13, 14, 12 points, whatever. Like, okay, cool. Dylan, normally I would say him, but again, I'm really worried about this matchup. Pierce is in a great spot this week. I know he's not going to catch a ton of passes. That's the only thing. He's not going to catch a ton of passes, but against this Bears defense, if he gets 15 carries and gets some goal line work, I can see him having a big game. I'm going to go Pierce.
Yeah, look, I think Shepard's fine. We've talked about him already. We don't mind him, but I don't know that I would go with him over those running backs.
Yeah.
But look, I don't want to be inconsistent here. I'm trying to remember. I think we've had very similar questions here, right? Dylan and Pierce. I think I've gone Dylan, right? I think I have Dylan higher. I should probably check where I've got him ranked because, again, these guys are very close. I do have, and again, like when you have, let me just throw this out there because look, our Patreons, they know we put up weekly rankings, right? It's not gospel. It's not like, because like right now I'm looking, I have my RB 19 is Dylan, my RB 21 is Pierce. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same guy. If you get a gut feeling, you feel better about Pierce, or let's say, look, I need that upside. Like Dylan is more, maybe a little safer, but Pierce maybe has a little bit more upside. Go Pierce. So to me, it's a coin flip between Dylan and Pierce, basically, which I hope, maybe that's not helpful. But you lean Pierce, I could see a case for Pierce.
Yeah, I lean Pierce.
Speaking of Pierce or Jeff Wilson?
Definitely Pierce.
Definitely Pierce in this case. Like Jeff Wilson, not going to catch passes like Pierce will. He's splitting time. Pierce is not. And the matchup's better. I mean, this is like this is no doubt definitely Pierce. All right. Super sticker.
All right. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Thanks. I don't know what that is either.
Thank you. Do you have a question? Do you see? No? Okay.
I'll look. All right. Austin back again, asking for somebody else. Well, that's nice of you.
All right. Nice of you.
DJ Moore or Drake London?
I mean, definitely Drake London. Better matchup, better target share, maybe even a better QB. I'm going to go Drake London.
Yeah. Again, just to clarify, guys, we don't hate DJ Moore personally.
Exactly.
There will be times you start him, but Drake London has looked better.
Yes.
Yeah, Drake London. I think this might be the question.
Okay.
And Chris, can you verify? Is that a bulldog? What kind of dog is that?
That looks like a bulldog. Good job. I like you.
All right. So adding
bulldog
star favorite user.
Yes.
Right. How many bulldogs do you have now? Is it just two bulldogs, two other dogs?
We have two right now. We had one before, so we're on our second and third bulldogs. Yes.
Longtime viewers, before we were the Endgame, will know Tank was officially a member of, before it was the Fantasy Endgame, our previous podcast.
True.
Tank's always with us. All right. I have Dotson in and Lockett. Okay. Worried about Lockett? Yeah, you should be. Okay. I do have Shepard. Could pick up Noah Brown. All right, Chris. So how much do you hate Lockett?
I like those guys more than Lockett this week. I'm going to give Shepard the slight edge here. Man, this is actually close because, again, Brown doesn't need, like, he can catch the ball downfield to a degree, right? He's not like Shepard, like, what did he have last week? Like 6 catches and like 40 yards or something? Like, that's the problem with Shepard. Like, he's going to get plenty of catches. He's going to have a high floor, but he's probably not going to rack up tons of yards. Okay, maybe I go slight Noah Brown here. But it's very close. This is very close for me. Very close.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I know this is not the popular opinion. I probably have Dotson out and Shepard in.
That's true, actually.
I don't, because again, Dotson, if you look at Dotson's numbers versus Shepard, I don't have them like right up, but but off of memory, I think Shepard has more yards so far than Dotson does.
Dotson's just been catching a lot. Dotson's been like a touchdown machine, which we know that can end at any moment.
Right. Okay, so like Shepard in 2 games is 8 for 105. Dotson, we know, has those 3 touchdowns, but 7 for 99. Shepard's getting you more yards. He's getting more targets, and I don't think it's a great matchup for Dotson. So I would put Shepard in over Dotson this week, and I would actually keep Lockett in. I know I'm worried about Lockett too, and I don't love Lockett. I know he always lets us down, but it's Atlanta. I think he could do something. And I do like Noah Brown, but I don't like Noah Brown over Lockett. So that's me. I go Lockett and Shepard, and you go Brown and.
I probably go Brown and Shepard. Maybe I'm too low on Lockett. I just think Noah Brown has just more upside than those guys. I know Lockett had like 100 yards and 9 catches last week, but come on. He's not getting 9 catches and 100 yards every week. And I know it's Atlanta, but I don't know. It's close. It's close. I'm fine if you want to go Lockett and Shepard or Lockett and Brown too. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, these guys are all really close. All pretty close. Rizzy wants to know full PR bonuses for 100 yards, Bateman or Judy. I mean, it's got to be Bateman, right?
Yeah, it's got to be Bateman. I know in week 1, Judy had that like 67-yard touchdown, but he's not the downfield guy. It's Sutton. Bateman is the downfield guy. We've seen Bateman already have 2 big plays in back-to-back weeks. I think Bateman has a better chance for 100 yards.
I mean, it's especially that bonus. Obviously, you've seen what Bateman's done. Those big plays downfield. That's the part of Baltimore's offense is not going away. They've always done that, right? Is run, draw the defense in, take those shots. Even with no injury questions, I would still go Bateman over Judy, even with no bonus either. But, not a super chat, but got to give our man Marquise some love, fellas.
What's up, Marquise? Good to see you.
Long time, obviously, always with us in those mocks. Mr. Carolina. All right.
Yes.
Joseph, back again. All right, appreciate you, Joseph. CEH or J-Rob, and then Aaron Rodgers or Russ. I know the answer to the second one is pretty easy. We're down on Rodgers. We definitely say Russ.
Yeah, definitely say Russ. Oh, that first one was actually tough.
It is tough.
Do you chase the volume with J-Rob, or do you chase the matchup and the offense, really? Right? That's what we're buying with CEH, is that he's on the Chiefs and he has chances to probably will have chances to score in this game. Or J-Rob, who's going to probably get more touches. I think I have to go slight CEH, but that's so close. I could see it going either way. I could see this going either way.
I go CEH just because with J-Rob, I think he's fine, but I don't love the matchup, and I don't really expect great things out of Jacksonville this game. So that's the thing. I'm okay with Robinson if you don't have a better option. I do think CH is a slightly better option. What I want to know in that Colts defense, I really don't think it's as bad as it's been, but it has been pretty bad. Is Shaquille Leonard playing, or is he out again?
I haven't heard that he's back. I don't think he's playing. I mean, that would make a big difference, right? That would definitely. But I haven't heard anything that he's back, so I don't think so.
I don't think he is. But that's the thing. I mean, he really is kind of the heart of that defense, especially against the running game. But I'll go CEH, and then definitely Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers. And then low-key Dusty. See the super chat. I'm trying to see if there's a question anywhere around. I don't see one yet, but I'm going to keep looking. So low-key, you're with us. Hang tight. If you have a question or just haven't thrown it out there.
All right, well, hold on. I did just see this. So I did just check. I did just see this from the Colts beat writer. He was full in. Oh no, that was last week versus Jacksonville, so he didn't play. So I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
I'm going to see
still up in the air. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so another James Robinson question here. Alex Rivera wants to know James Robinson, Curtis Samuel, or Dameon Pierce.
With it being full PPR, I'd probably go slight edge Samuel, but it's really close. It's just, this is another one where it's just like, I could see at the end of the day, it's like, oh, you should have played Pierce or you should have played Robin. Like, I could just see it going anyway here, but I think I go Samuel in full PPR.
I pretty confidently go Samuel. And again, I think it's between Samuel and Pierce, like you said. I'm going to go Samuel. I feel better about his not only touch share, but also his potential. So just feel better about that offense. All right, so here we go. PPR trade. Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, and a defense for Tyreek Hill. Do you give up two kind of wide receiver 2-3 types and a defense? I mean, do we really care about a defense?
Nah, defense is throw in. So it's like basically Brandon Cooks and DJ Moore for Tyreek Hill. I do that.
Other receivers are Lamb, Godwin, Gallup. I mean, you hate to give up the depth because you're missing two of those guys, but still, I do it. Look, when you get just an absolute stud at wide receiver who I know it was that one game, he's leading the NFL in yardage. Is this something Tyreek Hill isn't capable of doing? I think he can. So you definitely do that. I think you definitely do that.
Yeah, do that for sure.
And then in a couple of weeks, you get Godwin, Gallup back. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do that. All right, so rock out.
All right.
He traded McLaurin for MT, but now he wants to flip MT. What can he get?
McLaurin? I don't know.
Probably the least helpful answer in the history of this show. All right. So you're saying that was a mistake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying I probably would have kept McLaurin. I think I like McLaurin more long-term than MT, but you want to flip MT for a wide receiver 2? I don't know, like who's somebody that hasn't quite done it yet?
Well, this might look. You got to take advantage of obviously
Judy?
somebody who's big on MTs. It's they're looking at what has he done this week, this year, right? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so they're going to be worried about a guy like maybe Gabe Davis. Oh, he's not healthy. That's the time to see if that guy will give him up for you. Devontae Smith, I would rather have him than Michael Thomas.
What about Judy?
Judy,
I feel like people are kind of low on Judy. Like he had that big week 1, everybody's like Judy, and then he got banged up last week, and now he might not play. And it's like that's how quick people give up on players, right? It's like, okay, Judy, never mind.
Or, well, like, because obviously you're asking it's Saturday night. I mean, you're probably not going to get this trade done before tomorrow morning. If you wait and see what happens tomorrow, you'll have a lot more possibilities. What if Cortland Sutton doesn't do anything? You offer him for Cortland Sutton, I would do that in a heartbeat. If Sutton does have a bad game,
Sure.
You're probably not going to get a CeeDee Lamb type, but those are some guys.
Yeah.
All right, Mauricio Ortiz de Montellano. Thank you. We appreciate that. From Mexico.
Nice.
All right. So can you rate this team and recommend me some trades? 12-man league standard. Good job being 2-0. Okay, Hurts, Cook, Jamal Williams. Like as your starter, Jamal Williams? Okay.
Wow, okay.
Waddle, Pittman, Kelsey, Garrett Wilson, kicker, Bills defense.
I mean, obviously the recommendation is you need to fix your running back too. Jamal Williams look, I'm a guy who will gladly wait on his running back too, but Jamal Williams, even for me, is too risky at my RB2 spot. You're really good everywhere else. I mean, I don't know who's on your bench.
Right.
And I don't know how many wide receivers you start. Like, I don't really want to give up Garrett Wilson, but if you could maybe, like, just look, if I had to pick from just what I'm seeing here, I'm going to assume you can only start 2 wide receivers. I don't know, because I would maybe try Garrett Wilson and Jamal for a better running back.
And again, it's standard. So Jamal Williams is more valuable because, he will score touchdowns and get some yards. And those receptions really don't matter, right? He's not a pass catching back too much, but he shouldn't be starting, right? 12 team league, he shouldn't be a starter. I mean, he's like an RB3 if anything. So, and Dalvin Cook is a little more valuable in a non PPR league, but you got to improve running back. And you know what? That's exactly right. What Chris said. Trade Garrett Wilson now while his value is sky high. And look, maybe you package Garrett Wilson plus Cook for a stud running back, somebody like maybe people are not as crazy about, or depending what happens tomorrow, maybe like an Eckler, right? But you gotta improve running back. That's for sure. And Loki is back. Yes, you did forget your question. Jimmy G or Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, no. I gotta go Rodgers. I'm not even high on Rodgers this week, but I don't know if you saw the stat. I think I posted in the Discord. So Kyle Shanahan said when Jimmy G came in, because remember it was early in the first quarter, they said they were still running the Trey Lance game plan. And Jimmy G's average depth of target was 11.3. In the second half, in halftime, they switched it. For the Jimmy G game plan, his average depth of target was 5. Like, this is no upside. Unless he throws like 2 touchdowns, there's just no upside with Jimmy G. No upside. At least Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of upside. So don't like Rodgers this week, but I think I got to play him over Jimmy G. Especially he's going against Denver.
All right, I'm scrolling through. He's asking this 3 different ways, but here's the last one.
I mean, I'm not going to Jimmy G because you have the Jimmy G Kittle stack. Like, that doesn't move the needle for me. I'm still going Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, agree. Jimmy G. Look, not that Aaron Rodgers has his great rushing upside or anything, but he'll at least scramble. He'll at least take it in near the goal line. Jimmy G will literally never run for positive yardage ever, ever. And you're depending on his arm. And the thing is, maybe, he'll once in a while he'll have a good game. He's not going to on the road against Denver. I highly doubt it. No, I'm not going to. Jimmy G, down as we are on Rodgers.
A Jimmy G good game is what? He throws like a bubble screen to Debo, and Debo takes it to the house. That's like Jimmy G himself is not going to put up like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He needs Debo to like go off and do crazy stuff with the ball in his hands, and then Jimmy G just by extension gets the points. Right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, we don't love either of these guys, but it's got to be Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right, Clyde is asking Hines or Eli Moore and Perriman or Jay Johnson.
Juwan Johnson from the Saints? Like, we're getting deep here if that's who he's talking. I mean, he's talking about Perriman. That's the only Jay Johnson I can think of.
A tight end as the flex. Well, look, if Elijah Moore is down there with those guys, look, we're way too low in Elijah Moore. I get he hasn't been great, but we're not benching him for guys like this. Like, no.
This is why I had Elijah
Moore too. Perriman might not even play, so Perriman's not even a factor here.
This is why I haven't had Elijah Moore on the buy low, because you can literally get go offer Hines for Elijah Moore, go offer Perriman for Elijah Moore. Like, look at these questions we're getting about Elijah Moore. Like, go get Elijah Moore, even if he busts. Like the rest of the season, you gave up somebody on your bench for Elijah Moore, because that's how low people are on Elijah Moore right now. You got to play Elijah Moore.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Elijah Moore. This is a case for sure where it's not just that he's been so god awful. Like, he hasn't been great, but he's done something. He has 8 catches for 90 yards. It's just the expectations. People thought he was going to take a step forward and be this guy, and then Garrett Wilson is getting all this attention. Elijah Moore didn't die. He's still there. He's still a really good receiver. He's going to get his. All right. So definitely keep Elijah Moore in there. And then for your other flex, it's got to be Hines. I mean,
yeah, actually, this could be a Hines week because it's the Chiefs and they're probably going to be way behind. They're probably going to be throwing a ton. Could be a game where he gets like 5 or 6 dump offs. So yeah,
this could be a sneaky Hines week. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying I wanted for sure starting, but he's not a bad pick. All right, John Carrier, thank you, sir. Who should you start? Thielen, Robinson, Curtis Samuel, Keenan Allen. Are we picking 2? I guess we're picking 2, or we want to just order them?
I don't know. Is there only one?
All right. Well, let's just put in order of preference, I guess. Let's just do that. Who do you start at? Like, who do you like at receiver there? Who do you like the best?
Probably Robinson, then Samuel. I'm going to have Keenan last, not because of the matchup, because it's a great matchup, obviously. More because the uncertainty with Herbert and the uncertainty with his hamstring. We've seen this before from Keenan, where it's like, no, guys, I'm fine. And then he plays like 2 snaps, and we never see him the rest of the game. I don't want to risk that, especially with Herbert potentially not playing. So I'm going to have it Robinson, Samuel, Thielen, Allen this week. Only this week.
Yep. Exactly there. Robinson number 1, Samuel number 2, and then Keenan Allen. He's questionable. Herbert's questionable. You have better options. Just don't play Keenan Allen. It's not it's a good matchup. Like, it's the Jags defense, not great. Yeah. But it's not necessarily going to be good game script. Are they really going to put their foot in the pedal and throw the ball 40 times?
Especially not if they have Chase Daniel.
Well, especially if it's Chase Daniel. All right, running backs. So I like Fournette's a must start, right?
Yeah, Fournette's a must start. And then Zeke and Wilson are like the same to me. They're volume guys. Maybe I have Zeke slightly higher because not as bad of a matchup. And then Henderson and Penny, I can't start those guys unless I'm like super desperate, and you're not. Fournette's a must, though. Fournette's a must, and then probably Zeke Wilson would be the order.
Yep. I'm with you there, too. Fournette for sure. This week, probably Zeke. All right. And then Henry Odom wants to know, okay, so it looks like we got a trade offer here. Pitts, Dillon, Sutton for Higbee, Swift, Cooks.
I'm going to say I want the Higbee, Swift, Cook side. Just because that Swift, like, we talked about it in the offseason, like Swift, we were saying Swift has top 5 league-breaking potential, and I haven't seen anything to change my mind so far. So I like Sutton a lot. I like Dillon. I think Pitts will be fine, but Higbee's getting tons of targets. Cooks is fine. I think I take it for the Swift.
You know what? I hate to make this difficult. I would rather have the Pitts, Dillon, Sutton side, because I feel like all 3 of those guys are really solid every week starters. Higbee, I don't know yet. Yeah, he's getting a lot of targets so far, but I still maybe it's still holding out too much hope for Pitts. Like, after this week, I might change my mind, right? I still feel like Pitts could be a stud, right? And Swift is just. He really could be that league winner, but man, he's still banged up every week, right? He's still
true.
He got 5 carries. He's making me really nervous. I would feel a lot better about having a guy like Saquon than him or CMC. So, and then Cooks is fine, but I'd rather have Sutton. So I might change my mind though. Pitts just sucks again this week. Let's rewind. John said he also has Alvin Kamara. So now let's go back and look at the running backs here. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. So you got Wilson, Fournette, Elliott, Henderson, Penny, and Alvin Kamara.
Okay, well then I still have Fournette number 1. I would put Kamara 2, and then Zeke, Wilson. That would be it.
Yeah, I'm not down on Kamara too much if he plays. So I agree. I would put Kamara second then. So Fournette first, Kamara second. All right, Doug wants to know at wide receiver, he's got Chase, Higgins, Waddle. Well done, sir. Do you flex CPAT or Higgins?
No. You can't, you have to try really hard to get Higgins out of your lineup this week. So, no. Play those 3 wide receivers for sure.
If anything we said earlier, Patterson might be a sell high, right? Don't get too carried away with Patterson.
Yeah, Higgins against the Jets.
All right, Austin. Once again, I think it's like his 3rd or 4th super chat. We appreciate it, and he's got another one down below. So I'm going to have to throw this in because he's adding in some context. Okay, so he traded Montgomery, Renfro, and Olave to get Kupp and Wilson.
Nice.
That's a win.
That's a win. That's a big win.
And he says for context, he has Cook, Henry, Connor, Penny.
It doesn't even matter.
Backs.
It doesn't. You won that trade. You won that trade. You won that trade. I love Olave. I think Olave can be great. I think Montgomery's way better than people think he is. But you got arguably the wide receiver, probably the wide receiver 2 or 3 at worst, and another rookie, Garrett Wilson, who might be better than Olave. So yeah, great trade. Great trade for you.
You can get one of the top, the top really, until someone displaces him, right? Right now Tyreek Hill's number 1 receiver, but until he's proven season long that Kupp isn't the best receiver for fantasy in the world, he's the number 1 receiver, and Garrett Wilson is a stud. Yeah, that's a big win. So I guess that makes sense. He just wanted to show off. So good job.
Well, there you go. It's a big win.
All right. At this point, we are almost 3 hours in.
Whew.
Chris, are we gonna finish with a burnout here, like the lightning round? Because
are we through the super chats? Did we do it? Did we get through the super chats?
I think that was the last super chat. Unless someone okay. So at this point, guys, let me just say a couple things. First of all, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Very much. Thank you.
We wouldn't be doing this if not for you guys. If we thought this was helpful, and obviously it is. So we appreciate you. If you really want to know our thoughts on everybody, like all the players that matter for all the games, check out our videos. That's why we do them. Running back start sit, wide receiver start sit, quarterback and tight ends in one neat package start sit. Our booms, the guys we think might go off that you have to start. Our busts, we've already covered a lot of those guys that are in these questions. And also, I'll take this off here. Whoops. I'm sticking this off. Also, the Discord, mentioned this. If we didn't get to your question, which if it wasn't super chat, we just couldn't. Sorry, we didn't have enough time. Get in the Discord. Ask your question. Just join us, right? Yeah. It's free. It's easy. And if not us, somebody will get to it. You get to hear a whole bunch of other opinions. You can throw polls in there, right? And then, of course, if you want to join us tomorrow morning, our patrons, patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. Check the link in the description below. That's a good way to get all your questions answered.
All right, so I do have to get going, but we'll do I do want to get to some of these questions because I know people have been here for 3 hours. Appreciate you. So hit the like button. Yes, definitely hit the like button. We'll do a 10-minute lightning round, so we gotta go fast here. So guys, I'm gonna pick questions more to guys we haven't talked about because you heard us talk about a lot of the same guys, so you should kind of know how we feel about them. So here we go. Brady or Wentz, Dylan or Patterson? Where are you leaning?
I'm down on Brady. I know you are too. Had him as a bust. I go Wentz and then definitely Dylan.
Agree. And then we might have kind of talked about this, but Collins or Chark this week?
I think we talked about them in the same question. They're both kind of boom bust guys. I feel better about Collins. Look, Chark could get a touchdown, but in a PPR league, I'll go Collins. I actually kind of like him this week.
I agree. And then which 2 players should I start? I'm assuming Christian Kirk, Antonio Gibson, or CPAT.
If it's Christian Kirk, you got to start Christian Kirk over those guys. Probably Gibson. Probably right. Yeah, probably Gibson. Patterson, it's week 2. We're already seeing his touch share go down. So I go Gibson.
I agree.
Here's
again,
one.
guys. I'm looking for questions here about guys we haven't covered, or maybe some combos.
Here's a question. I don't even know how this gets asked. You do not have both those guys. You don't have both those guys. There's no way.
Like, I can't even pick. I think they're both going to be awesome this week. So I don't even know. They're both going to be awesome.
I got Jalen Hurts.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with anybody on either way. How about this one? 2 QB league. Pick 2 QBs between Cousins, Wilson, or Ryan.
Cousins, like a lot this week. Got to go with Russ, man.
Yeah.
I know Matt Ryan will be better, but yeah, I'll go with Russ.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, here's one for you, especially Michael Bateman or Jacoby Myers. I know you're high on Jacoby Myers this week.
Yeah, but then he's kind of banged up, and I know Bateman's the guy. I got to go Bateman.
I agree. Gotta go Bateman. What about Cooks or Jacoby Myers?
Closer. I'm not backtracking on my sleeper boom pick, but I gotta go Cooks. I know I feel bad saying that because I just bashed Cooks in his matchup, and I'm big on Myers. I'll go Cooks.
Yeah, I like Cooks. What about Clyde or Montgomery? Who do we like between those two?
I go Montgomery.
Call me. Well, okay. If we hear that Leonard is playing, then I definitely go Montgomery. I mean, I might still go Montgomery. He's getting the touches. He's in a good matchup. Maybe probably Montgomery either way, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, who are you dropping? If Herbert can't go and you need to go to the waiver wire to get a QB, are you dropping Joshua Palmer or Rashad White? Which one are you dropping?
Can't drop Rashad White. He got that league-winning upside. Palmer, I like Palmer, but yeah, the upside with him is not as much as potential for White. So keep White.
I agree. You got to keep White. Let's see. Again, trying to look for ones we haven't talked about. We did that one. If you see one we haven't really talked about, throw it up there.
Okay. Defense. I love the defense questions.
Okay.
Broncos or Pats.
I mean, you can't start the Pats against Lamar Jackson, right? Gotta start. The Broncos.
It's the Broncos.
It's the Broncos. Yeah.
Brady or Goff? How low are you, Brady?
I'm going Goff.
Wow, there you go. You know what? I am too. I think I actually have Goff ranked higher. No cap.
Did you just say no cap?
Yes, I did. I have teenage daughters. All right.
How about 6-point passing touchdown? Jimmy Handsome or Jared Goff?
Definitely Jared Goff.
Yeah, definitely Goff.
Breece Hall or Damian Harris?
This week, Damian Harris. Long-term Breece Hall.
Agreed.
All right, how about this one? Dortch, but then what about Isaiah McKenzie or Julio?
I got to go Dortch. McKenzie hasn't been as involved. He got that touchdown, but he's not getting a ton of targets. Dortch is. So
it's pretty frustrating that even when Gabe Davis is at, McKenzie hasn't seen more. So yeah, you gotta go Dortch.
Trade question from Big D.
No.
David. Trade Fournette for Dalvin Cook? No.
Why? What's the difference between the two other than I don't know. No, Fournette definitely for me over Dalvin Cook. He's the unquestioned workhorse there.
Someone's saying Breece Hall is not legit. I don't know about that.
I mean, he hasn't been legit through 2 weeks, I guess, but he's legit.
He will be.
This one's tough too because Trevor Lawrence is such a bad spot. But I think maybe I think I would play Lawrence if I had to choose. I think Lawrence, at least Lawrence. I like Lawrence's weapons better. I do. I like his weapons better.
Yeah. Look, we're down on Rodgers. I'm not crazy about Lawrence this week. Honestly, I might go Lawrence. And let's see. Let's end on this one.
All right.
Akers or Etienne?
I mean, sadly, I think you gotta go Akers. Just Etienne is not involved enough. It's sad, but Etienne may end up being the bust of the draft. If James Robinson stays healthy all year, he may legit be the bust of the entire draft. Because he was like, what, a third rounder, and he's not doing it. He's on your bench.
Honestly, yeah, I've already said this over and over again. Don't love the matchup. Maybe he gets more involved, but don't trust Doug Peterson with backfields. And Akers has a pretty good matchup. I'll go Akers.
Okay.
All right, guys, we are at our time limit. We appreciate you sticking with us. A lot of you till the very end, including the bus. We'll throw it in there. Bus was one of the very first people to comment 3 hours ago.
Yes.
He just said, "What up?" And he's still not only here, but of course he's the driver. Pun very much of the Jets bandwagon. He says the Jets are legit. Join the Discord. He'll tell you why. He'll also sell you on some personal grooming products. We'll tell you about that more next week. All right. That is it. We're going to go. Guys, if you are a patron, we'll see you tomorrow morning. If you're not, think about it. Check out all our videos, and hopefully we'll help you with all of our rankings advice. Good luck in week 3.